Dame Sybil Thorndike, Prunella Scales and Dinsdale Landon star in Joseph Kesselring's classic farce, Arsenic and Old Lace. It's a macabre tale of two charming ladies, Abby and Martha Brewster, whose cellar is populated with the bodies of lonely old men whom they have helped find peace. Then there are the nephews, Teddy, who thinks he's Teddy Roosevelt, Mortimer, the manic theatre critic, and Jonathan, the mad killer with the face of Boris Karloff.
Oh, yes, indeed. My sister Martha and I have been talking all the week about your sermon last Sunday.
Oh.
Oh, it is really wonderful, Dr. Harper. In only 2 short years, you've taken on the spirit of Brooklyn.
That's very gratifying, Miss Brewster.
Living here next to the church all our lives, you know, we've seen so many ministers come and go. The spirit of Brooklyn, we always say, is friendliness. And your sermons are not so much sermons as friendly talks.
Personally, I've always enjoyed my talks with Cardinal Gibbons. Or have I met him yet?
No, Teddy dear, not yet. Are the biscuits good?
Splendid, Aunt Abby.
Won't you have another biscuit, Dr. Harper?
Oh, no, I'm afraid I'll have no appetite for dinner now. I always eat too many of your biscuits just to taste your lovely jam.
Oh, well, we'll send you over a jar.
No, you keep it here so I can be sure of having your biscuits with it.
Very well. I understand Mortimer's taking Elaine with him to the theatre again tonight. We are so happy it's your daughter he takes with him, Dr. Harper.
It's a new experience for me to wait up until 3 o'clock in the morning for her to be brought home.
Oh, but I do hope you don't disapprove of Mortimer.
Well...
Because we'd feel so guilty if you did, Sister Martha and I. I mean, since it was here that your daughter met our nephew.
I believe Mortimer to be quite a worthy gentleman, but I must admit that I've watched the growing intimacy between him and my daughter with some trepidation. For one reason, Miss Abby.
You mean his stomach, Dr. Harper?
Stomach?
Yes, his dyspepsia.
No, Miss Abby. I'll be frank with you. I'm speaking of your nephew's unfortunate connection with the theatre.
The theatre? Oh, no, Dr. Harper. Mortimer writes for a New York newspaper.
I know, Miss Abby, but a dramatic critic is constantly exposed to the theatre. And I don't doubt but some of them develop an interest in it.
No, not Mortimer. He hates the theatre.
Really?
Oh, yes. He writes awful things about it. But you can't blame him, poor boy. He was so happy writing about real estate, which he really knew something about. And then they just make him take this terrible night position.
My.
But as he says, the theatre can't last much longer anyway. And in the meantime, it's a living. Well, now, whoever do you suppose that is? Oh, come in, Mr. Brophy.
Hello, Miss Brewster.
How are you, Mr. Clyde?
Very well, Miss Brewster.
What news have you 2 police officers brought me?
Colonel, we have nothing to report.
Splendid. Thank you, gentlemen. At ease.
You know Dr. Harper?
Yes. Hello, Dr. Harper.
We've come for the toys for the Christmas fund, Miss Brewster.
Oh, yes.
That's splendid work you men do for the poor children.
Oh, it gives us something to do when we have to sit around the station. You get tired playing cards, then you start cleaning your gun. And the first thing you know, you've shot yourself in the foot.
Oh, dear. Teddy, just go upstairs, dear, and get that big box from your Aunt Martha's room, will you?
Yes, Aunt Abby.
Dear Teddy, always pretending he's in the army. And how is your wife, Mr. Brophy?
Oh, she's better now. A little weak still.
Well, I'm going to get you some beef broth to take to her.
Oh, now, don't bother, Miss Abby. You've done so much for her already.
We made it this morning. Yes, Sister Martha's taking some to poor Mr. Benitsky right now. I won't be a minute. Sit down and be comfortable, all of you.
Well, now, she shouldn't go to all that trouble.
Listen, You just tried to stop her or her sister from doing something nice, and for nothing.
Colonel, you promised not to do that.
But I have to call a cabinet meeting to get the release of those supplies.
He used to do that in the middle of the night. The neighbours raised Cain with us. They're a little bit afraid of him anyway.
Oh, he's quite harmless.
Oh, suppose he does think he's Teddy Roosevelt. There's a lot worse people he could think he was.
It's a shame. A nice family like this hatching a cuckoo like him.
Well, the old girl's father, Teddy's grandfather, he was a little crazy, wasn't he?
Yes, crazy like a fox. He made $1 million.
Really?
Yes, patent medicine. He used the house here as a sort of a clinic. Tried him out on people.
He used to make mistakes occasionally, too.
The department never bothered him much because he was pretty useful on autopsies, especially poison cases.
Well, whatever he did, he left his daughters fixed for life.
Not that they ever spend any of it on themselves.
Yes, I'm well acquainted with their charities.
Oh, you don't know a tenth of it. When I was with the Missing Persons Bureau, I was trying to trace an old man that we never did find. Do you know there's a renting agency that's got this house down on its list for furnished rooms? They don't rent rooms, but anybody who comes here looking for a room goes away with a good meal and a few dollars in their pocket.
Well, now, isn't this nice?
Good afternoon, Miss Brewster.
How do you do, Mr. Brovey? Dr. Harper and Mr. Klein.
How are you, Miss Brewster?
We dropped in to get the Christmas toys.
Oh, yes, of course. I hope Mrs. Brovey's better.
Oh, she's doing fine, ma'am. Your sister's getting some soup for me to take to her.
Oh, yes, we made it this morning. I just took some to a poor man who broke ever so many bones.
Oh, so you're back, Martha. And how was Mr. Benitsky?
Oh, well, dear, it's pretty serious, I'm afraid. The doctor was there. He's going to amputate in the morning.
Oh, can we be present?
No, I asked him, but he says it's against the rules.
Well, here is the broth, Mr. Brophy. And be sure it's good and hot.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Ah, and here's Teddy with the toys.
There they are.
Thank you, dear Teddy.
All checked and correct.
There you are, Mr. Clyde.
Oh, thank you very much, ma'am. Well, we'll run along now.
Goodbye, Mr. Clyde.
Goodbye, Mr. Brophy.
Goodbye, ma'am.
And thank you.
I must be getting home too.
Oh, well, before you go, Dr. Harper.
Charge! Charge the blockhouse!
Have you ever tried to persuade him that he wasn't Teddy Roosevelt?
Oh, no.
Nobody's so happy being Teddy Roosevelt.
Once, a long time ago, do you remember, Martha? We thought if he would be George Washington, it might be a change for him.
But he stayed under his bed for days and just wouldn't be anybody.
And we'd so much rather he'd be Mr. Roosevelt than nobody.
Well, if he's happy. You'll see that he signs these papers.
What are they?
Well, Dr. Harper has made arrangements for Teddy to go to Happy Dale Sanatorium after we pass on.
But why should Teddy sign any papers now?
Oh, it's better to have it all settled. Mr. Witherspoon understands they're to be filed away until the time comes to use them.
Mr. Witherspoon? Who's he?
He's the superintendent of Happy Dale.
And Dr. Harper has arranged for him to drop in tomorrow or the next day to meet Teddy.
I'd better be running along, or Elaine will be over here looking for me.
Well, give our love to Elaine. Oh, and Dr. Harper, please don't think harshly of Mortimer because he's a dramatic critic. Somebody has to do these things.
Well, good day.
Have you only just had tea? Isn't it rather late?
Yes, and dinner's going to be late too.
Why?
Teddy! Teddy!
Yes, Aunt Abby.
Good news for you, dear. You're going to Panama to dig another lock for the canal.
Delighted. I shall prepare for the journey at once.
Abby, while I was out.
Yes, dear. I just couldn't wait for you. I didn't know when you'd be back, and Dr. Harper was coming.
But all by yourself.
Oh, but I got along splendidly.
Oh, I'll just run downstairs and see it.
Oh, no, there wasn't time for that, dear, for I was all alone.
Well, where is it then?
Martha, just look in the window seat.
Abby, dear, what a lovely body. And all by yourself, too. Who can that be? Oh, it's Elaine. Come in, dear.
Good afternoon, Miss Martha. Oh, I thought Father was here.
Oh, well, he's just this minute left. Didn't you meet him?
No, I took the shortcut through the cemetery. Hasn't Mortimer come yet?
No, dear.
Oh, he asked me to meet him here. Do you mind if I wait?
No, not at all. He should be here any minute now.
Oh, my goodness, Elaine, what must you think of us not having tea cleared away by this time? I just put the tray in the kitchen.
Don't bother with anything in the kitchen, Abby, until Mortimer comes, and then I'll help you. Oh, there he is now.
Hello, Aunt Martha.
Abby, Mortimer's here.
Hello, Elaine.
Hello, Mort.
Hello, Mortimer.
Hello, Aunt Abby.
How are you, dear?
All right. And you look well. You haven't changed much since yesterday.
Oh, my goodness, it was yesterday, wasn't it? Well, we are seeing a great deal of you lately. Well, sit down, sit down.
Abby, haven't we something to do in the kitchen? Abby?
What?
You know, the tea things.
Oh, yes, of course, the tea things. Well, now you two just make yourselves at home. Just
Make yourselves at home.
Now, where do you want to go for dinner, Elaine?
I don't care. I'm not very hungry.
Well, I just had breakfast. Suppose we wait till after the show,
Well, that'll make it pretty late, won't it?
Not with the little stinker we're seeing tonight, but what I've heard about it, we'll be at Blake's by 10 o'clock.
You ought to be fair to these plays.
Are these plays fair to me?
You know, I've never seen you walk out on a musical. Somehow they have a humanising effect on you. It wasn't until after our first musical you told me I had nice legs. And I have, too.
For a minister's daughter, you know a lot about life. Where do you learn it?
In the choir loft.
I'll explain that to you sometime, darling.
What?
The close connection between eroticism and religion.
Religion never gets as high as the choir loft.
You know, I've never been able to rationalise it.
What?
My falling in love with a girl who lives in Brooklyn.
Falling in love? You're not stooping to the articulate, are you?
The only way I can regain my self-respect is to keep you in New York.
Did you say keep?
No. I've come to the conclusion that you're holding out for the legalities. Now, where could we be married in a hurry? Let me say tonight.
I'm afraid Father will insist on officiating.
Your father could make even the marriage service sound pedestrian. All right, formal, everything formal and legal. But not later than next month.
Darling.
Hello, Mortimer.
How are you, Mr. President?
Fine, thank you, just fine. What news have you brought for me?
Just this, Mr. President. The country is squarely behind you.
Yes, I know. Isn't it wonderful? Well, goodbye.
Where are you off to, Teddy?
Panama.
Panama's the cellar.
Oh.
He digs locks for the canal down there.
You're very sweet with him, and he's so fond of you.
Well, Teddy was always my favourite brother.
Favourite? Were there more of you?
Well, there's another brother, Jonathan.
I never heard of him.
Well, we don't like to talk about Jonathan. He left Brooklyn very early, by request. He was the kind of boy who liked to cut worms in two with his teeth.
What became of him?
Oh, I don't know. He wanted to become a surgeon like grandfather, but he wouldn't go to medical school first, and his practice got him into trouble.
Aren't you two going to be late for the theatre?
Oh, we're skipping dinner. We don't have to start for half an hour.
Oh, well then, I'll leave you alone together again.
Don't bother, darling. I'm going to run over to speak to Father. Before I go out with you, Mort, he likes to pray over me a little.
Oh, by the way, Aunt Abby, I'm going to marry her.
What? Oh, darling! Martha, come here. I've got the most wonderful news. Mortimer and Elaine are going to be married.
Married? Oh, Mortimer.
Oh, we hoped it would happen like this.
Elaine must be the happiest girl in the world.
Happy? Just look at her leaping over those gravestones. Oh, by the way, I left a large envelope around here last week. It was one of the chapters of my book on Thoreau. Have you seen it?
Well, if you left it here, it must be here somewhere.
Well, when are you going to be married? There must be something more you can tell us about Elaine.
Elaine? Oh, yes, Elaine. Thought it was brilliant.
What was, dear?
My chapter on Thordo.
Oh, well, when Elaine comes back, I think we ought to have a little celebration. We must drink to your happiness. Martha, isn't there some of that Lady Baltimore cake left?
Oh, yes.
And I'll open a bottle of wine.
Oh, and to think that it happened in this room.
Oh, now, where could I have put it?
I do hope the play will be something you can enjoy for once. It may be something romantic. What's the name of it?
Murder Will Out.
Oh, dear.
When the curtain goes up, the first thing you'll see will be a dead body. Now, could it be in the window seat, I wonder? My God! Aunt Abby, you were going to make plans for Teddy to go to that sanatorium, the Happy Dale.
Yes, dear, it's all arranged. Dr. Harper was here today and brought the papers for Teddy to sign. Here they are.
He's got to sign them right away.
Yes, that's what Dr. Harper thinks. Then there won't be any legal difficulties after we pass on.
Here's the cake.
Oh, yes, dear. Put it down there, will you, Martha,
He's
dear?
got to sign them this minute. He's down in the cellar. Now get him up here right away.
Oh, there's no such hurry as that.
No. When Teddy starts working on the canal, you can't get his mind on anything else.
Teddy's got to go to Happy Dale now. Tonight.
Oh, no, dear. That's not until after we're gone.
Now, listen, darlings. I'm frightfully sorry, but I've got some shocking news for you. You know we've sort of humoured Teddy because we thought he was harmless.
Well, he is harmless.
He was harmless. That's why he has to go to Happy Dale. Why he has to be confined.
Mortimer, why have you suddenly turned against Teddy, your own brother?
Teddy's killed a man.
Nonsense, dear.
There's a body in the window seat.
Yes, dear, we know.
You know?
Well, of course, dear, but it's nothing to do with Teddy.
Now, Mortimer, just forget about it. Forget you ever saw the gentleman.
Forget?
We never dreamed you'd look.
But who is he?
His name is Hoskins, Adam Hoskins. That's really all I know about him, except that he's a Methodist.
That's all you know about him? What's he doing here? I mean, what's happened to him?
He died.
Aunt Martha, men don't just get into window seats and die.
Oh, no, but he died first.
How?
Now, Mortimer, don't be so inquisitive. The gentleman died because he drank some wine with poison in it.
Well, how did the poison get in the wine?
Well, we put it in wine because it's less noticeable. When it's in tea, it has a distinct odour.
You put it in the wine?
Yes, and I put Mr. Hoskins in the window seat because Dr. Harper was coming.
So you knew what you'd done. You didn't want Dr. Harper to see the body.
Well, not at tea, dear. That wouldn't have been very nice. Now, Mortimer, you know the whole thing. Just forget about it. I do think Martha and I have the right to our own little secrets.
What are we going to do? I mean, what are we going to do?
What are we going to do about what, dear?
There's a body in that window seat.
Yes, dear, Mr. Hoskins.
Well, I can't turn you over to the police, but what am I going to do?
Oh, well, for one thing, dear, stop being so excited.
But Mr. Hotchkiss.
Hoskins, dear.
Well, whatever his name is, you can't leave him there.
Oh, we don't intend to, dear.
No, Teddy's down in the cellar now, digging the lock.
You mean you're going to bury Mr. Hotchkiss in the cellar?
Oh, yes, dear. Well, that's what we did with the others.
You can't bury Mr. Others?
It's the other gentleman.
When you say others, do you mean others? More than one others?
Oh, yes, dear. Now, let me see. This is 11, isn't it, Abby?
Oh, no, dear, this makes 12.
No, I think you're wrong, Abby. This is only 11.
No, dear, because I remember when Mr. Hoskins first came in, it occurred to me that he would make just a round dozen.
Well, you really shouldn't count the first one.
Oh, but I was counting the first one, so that makes it 12. Anyway, they're all down in the cellar.
All right now, 12. Now tell me, who was the first one?
Mr. Midgley. He was a Baptist.
Of course, I still think we can't claim full credit for him, because he just died.
Martha means without any help from us. You see, Mr. Midgley came here looking for a room.
It was after you moved to New York.
Yes, and it didn't seem right for that lovely room to be going to waste. when there were so many people who needed it.
He was such a lonely old man.
All his kith and kin were dead, and it left him so forlorn and unhappy.
And we felt so sorry for him.
And then, when his heart attack came on, and he sat dead in that chair, looking so peaceful, you remember, Martha? We made up our minds then and there that if we could help other lonely old men to that same peace, we would.
Teddy had been digging in Panama, down in the cellar, and he thought Mr. Midgley was a yellow fever victim.
Yes, and that meant he had to be buried immediately.
So we all took him down to Panama and put him in the lock. That's why we told you not to worry now, because we know exactly what has to be done.
And that's how this all started? That man walking in here and dropping dead?
Yes, of course. You see, we realized we couldn't depend on that happening again. So...
you remember those jars of poison that have been up on the shelves in Grandfather's laboratory all these years?
And you know your Aunt Martha's knack for mixing things.
Well, dear, for a gallon of elderberry wine, I take 1 teaspoonful of arsenic and then add half a teaspoonful of strychnine and then just a pinch of cyanide.
Should have quite a kick.
Yes, as a matter of fact, one of our gentlemen found time to say, "How delicious."
Well, I'll have to get things started in the kitchen.
Mortimer, I wish you could stay for dinner.
I'm trying out a new recipe.
I couldn't eat a thing.
I'll come and help you, dear. Well, I feel so much better now. Oh, you have to wait for Elaine, haven't you, Mortimer? How happy you must be. Well, dear, I'll leave you alone with your thoughts.
Oh, what am I going to do? I mean, what am I... Oh, it's you, Elaine.
Hello.
Now, you run along home, and I'll call you up tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
You know I always call you up every day or two.
Well, we're going to the theatre tonight.
No, we're not.
Well, why not?
Elaine, some things come up.
What, darling? Mortimer, you've lost your job.
No, I haven't lost my job. I'm just not covering that play tonight. Now, you run along home, Elaine.
I've got to know what's happened. You can tell me.
No, dear, I can't.
But if we're going to be married...
Married?
Have you forgotten?
Oh, yes. Well, as far as I know, that's still on. Now, you run along home, Elaine. I've got to do something.
Listen, you can't propose to me 1 minute and throw me out of the house the next.
Now, look, Elaine, you're a sweet girl, and I love you, but I have something on my mind, and I want you to go home and wait till I call you.
Well, don't try to be masterful.
Look, when we're married and I have problems to face, I hope you're less tedious and uninspired.
And when we're married, if we're married, I hope I find you adequate.
Elaine! Hello.
That's the doorbell, dear, not the telephone.
Oh.
How do you do? Come in.
I understand you have a room to rent.
Yes. Won't you step in?
Are you the lady of the house?
Yes. I am Miss Brewster, and this is my sister, another Miss Brewster.
My name is Gibbs.
Won't you sit down?
Let me talk to you.
May I see the room?
Well, why don't you sit down for a minute and let's get acquainted?
Well, that won't do much good if I don't like the room.
Is Brooklyn your home?
Haven't got a home. Live in a hotel. Don't like it.
Are your family Brooklyn people?
Haven't got any family.
All alone in the world.
Yes.
Well, Martha, perhaps some wine. You've come to just the right house, Mr. Gibbs. Now, do sit down.
Oh, what church do you go to? There's an Episcopal church practically next door.
I'm Presbyterian. Used to be. Is there always this much noise?
Oh, he doesn't live with us.
Well, I'd really like to see the room.
Well, it's upstairs. Won't you try a glass of our wine before we go up?
Never touch it.
Well, we make this ourselves. It's elderberry wine.
Oh, elderberry wine. Haven't tasted elderberry wine since I was a boy. Thank you. You have your own elderberry bushes?
No, but the cemetery is full of them.
Do you serve meals?
Well, we might. But first, just see whether you like our wine.
Al, there must be somebody.
Just try this, Mr. Gibbs.
Why don't you try Joe? I mean, he's the... Stop! No, stop.
No,
Stop. No, don't. No. Do you want to be poisoned? Get out. Do you want to be killed? Do you want to be murdered? Get out.
Well, now you've spoiled everything.
Oh, you can't do things like that. It's not nice. People wouldn't understand. Well, he wouldn't understand.
Abby, we shouldn't have told Mortimer.
What I mean is, well, this has developed into a very bad habit.
Now, Mortimer, we don't try to stop you from doing things you like to do, and I don't see why you should interfere with us.
Hello. All right, Al. I'll see the first act and I'll pan the hell out of it. But look, Al, you've got to do something for me. Get hold of O'Brien, our lawyer. Now, get him to meet me at the theatre. Now, don't let me down. Okay? I'm starting now. Look, I've got to go to the theatre. But before I go, will you promise me something?
Well, we'd have to know what it was first.
You know I'd do anything in the world for you, and I want you to do just this little thing for me.
Well, what do you want us to do?
Don't do anything. Don't let anyone in, and leave Mr. Hoskins right where he is in the window seat.
Why?
I want time to think.
Well, we were planning on holding the service before dinner.
Service?
Certainly. You don't think we'd bury Mr. Hoskins without a full Methodist service, do you?
But can't that wait till I get back?
Oh, then you could join us.
Oh, yes.
Oh, Mortimer, you will enjoy the service, especially the hymns. Do you remember how beautifully Mortimer used to sing in the choir before his voice changed?
And remember, you're not going to let anyone in while I'm gone. It's a promise?
Well...
Oh, Martha, yes. We can do that now that Mortimer's cooperating with us. Well, all right, Mortimer.
Have you got some paper? Now, I'll get back just as soon as I can.
Well, will this do?
That's fine, yes. It'll save time if I write my review on the way to the theatre. Goodbye.
You know, Mortimer didn't seem quite himself today.
Well, of course, that's only natural. He's just become engaged. That always makes a man nervous.
Abby, if Mortimer's coming back for the service, we shall need another hymnal.
You know, dear, it's really my turn to read the service. But since you weren't here when Mr. Hoskins came, I want you to do it.
Ah, that's very nice of you, dear. But are you sure you want me to?
Well, it's only fair.
Well, I think I'll wear my black bombazine and Mother's old brooch.
I'll go, dear.
Oh, we promised Mortimer we wouldn't let anyone in.
Well, who do you suppose it is?
Wait a minute. I'll look. Oh, it's two men, and I've never seen them before.
Are you sure?
Yes, and there's a car at the curb. They must have come in that.
Well, let me look.
Do you recognize them?
No, they're strangers to me.
We'll just have to pretend we're not home. Oh, hide here behind the screen. Go on, get out.
All right.
Quietly.
All right.
Come in, Doctor. This is the home of my youth.
So,
As a boy, I couldn't wait to escape from this place now. I'm glad to escape back into it.
yeah, Charlie. It's a fine hideout.
Yeah, the family must still live here. I hope there's a fatted calf awaiting the return of the prodigal.
Yeah, I'm hungry. Look, Johnny, wine.
As though we were expected.
Oh, who are you? And what are you doing here?
Why, Aunt Abby. Aunt Martha. It's Jonathan.
You get out of here.
But it's Jonathan. Your nephew, Jonathan.
Oh, no, you're not. You're nothing like Jonathan. You get out of here.
But I am Jonathan, and this is Dr. Einstein.
And he's not Dr. Einstein either.
Not Dr. Albert Einstein, Dr. Hermann Einstein.
Well, who are you? You're not our nephew, Jonathan.
I see you're still wearing the lovely garnet ring that Grandma Brewster bought in England.
Oh.
And you, Aunt Martha, still the high collar to hide the scar where Grandfather's acid burned you?
His voice is like Jonathan's, Abby.
Have you been in an accident?
No. My face. Dr. Einstein is responsible for that. He's a plastic surgeon. He changes people's faces.
Don't worry, ladies. The last 5 years, I give Johnny 3 new faces. I give him another one right away. This last face, well, I was intoxicated at the time.
You see, Doctor, you see what you've done to me, even my own family.
Johnny, you're home in this lovely house. How often he tells me about Brooklyn, about this house, about his aunts that he loves so much.
I promised Dr. Einstein that no matter how rushed we were in passing through Brooklyn, I'd take time to bring him here for one of Aunt Martha's home-cooked dinners.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm afraid there wouldn't be enough.
Oh, Abby, a pretty good-sized pot roast.
Pot roast?
Yeah, I think the least we could do
Thank you, Aunt Martha. We'll stay to dinner.
Well, we'll hurry it along.
Oh, yes. And if we had a few more vegetables, and lots of potatoes.
Find something else to have.
Yes.
Well, Johnny, where do we go from here? We got to think fast. The police have got pictures of that face. I got to operate on you right away. We got to find some place for that. And we got to find a place for Mr. Spenalzo,
Oh,
too.
don't waste any worry on that rat.
But, Johnny, we got a hot stiff on our hands.
Forget Mr. Spanalzo.
But you can't leave a dead body in the car. You shouldn't have killed him, Johnny. He's a nice fellow. He gives us a lift, and what happens?
He said I looked like Boris Karloff. You did that to me.
Take it easy, Johnny. Now, look. Your aunts, they don't want us here.
We're here for dinner, aren't we?
Oh, yeah, but after dinner.
Leave it to me, Doctor. I'll handle it. This house will be our headquarters for years.
Oh, that would be beautiful, Johnny. This nice, quiet house. And those aunts of yours, what sweet ladies. I love them already. I get the bags, yeah?
Doctor, we must wait until we're invited.
But you just said that...
We'll be invited.
And if they say no?
Doctor, 2 helpless old women.
Oh, it's like comes through a beautiful dream. Only I hope we're not dreaming. It's so peaceful.
That's what makes this house so perfect for us. It's so peaceful. Yes, aunties, those 5 years in Chicago were amongst the busiest and happiest of my life.
And from Chicago we go to South Bend, Indiana, and there we hit a fascinating...
They wouldn't be interested in our experience in Indiana.
Well, Jonathan, you've led a very interesting life, I'm sure.
But we really shouldn't have allowed you to talk so late.
My meeting Dr. Einstein in London, I might say, changed the whole course of my life. You remember, I'd been in South Africa in the diamond business, then Amsterdam, the diamond market. I wanted to go back to South Africa, and Dr. Einstein made it possible for me.
When we take off the bandages, his face looked so different. The nurse had to introduce me.
You know, I think we'll go back to that face, Doctor.
Yeah, it's safe now.
Well, I know you both want to get to where you're going.
My dear aunts, I'm so full of that delicious dinner I'm unable to move a muscle.
Yeah, he's nice here.
Well, after all, it's very late.
I found it! I found it!
What did you find, Teddy?
The story of my life. My biography. Here's the picture I was telling you about, General. Here we are, both of us. President Roosevelt and General Goethals, the Calibra Cat. That's me, General, and that's you.
My, how I've changed.
Well, of course you've changed. That picture hasn't been taken yet. We haven't even started work on Calibra Cat. We're still digging locks. So, General, we'll both go to Panama and inspect the new lock.
No, no, Teddy, not to Panama.
No, we go some other time. Panama's a long way off.
Nonsense, it's down in the cellar.
The cellar?
Well, we'll let him dig the Panama Canal in the cellar.
General Goethals, as President of the United States, Commander-in-Chief of the Army and Navy, and the man who gave you this job, I demand that you accompany me to the inspection of the new lock.
Oh, all right, Mr. President. We go to Panama.
Fine, fine. Follow me, General.
Lead on, Mr. President. I am following.
Jonathan, there's a very nice little hotel just 3 blocks down.
Aunt Martha, this is my home.
Oh, but Jonathan, you can't stay here.
Dr. Einstein and I need a place to sleep. You remembered this afternoon that as a boy I could be very disagreeable. It wouldn't be very pleasant for any of us if I had...
Well, perhaps we'd better let them stay here tonight, Abby.
Well, just overnight, Jonathan.
That's settled. Now, if you'll get my room ready...
It only needs airing out.
Yes, well, you see, we keep it ready to show our lodgers.
Hey, Johnny, down in the cellars.
Dr. Einstein, my dear aunts have invited us to live with them.
Oh, you fixed it.
Well, you're sleeping here tonight.
Please get our room ready immediately.
Well, if you insist.
Well, for tonight only, then.
Yes, but it's all very awkward, Abby, isn't it?
Never mind. You put on the kettle and...
Johnny. Johnny, when I go down in the cellar, what do you think I find?
What?
The Panama Canal.
The Panama Canal.
It just fits, Mr. Spinalzo. It's a hole Teddy dug, 6 feet long and 3 feet wide.
Down there?
You'd think they knew we were bringing Mr. Spinalzo along. That's hospitality.
Rather a good joke on my aunts. They're living in a house with a body buried in the cellar.
How do we get him in?
Yes, we can't just walk him in through the door. I got it. We'll drive the car up between the house and the cemetery. Then, when they've gone to bed, we'll bring Mr. Spinalzo in through that window.
Oh.
Jonathan.
Huh?
Your room is ready.
Oh, then you can go to bed. We're moving the car up behind the house.
Oh, it's all right where it is until the morning.
I don't want to leave it in the street. That might be against the law.
Yeah, it is. That's quite right.
Come on, Doctor.
Abby, what are we going to do?
Well, we are not going to let them stay more than one night in this house, for one thing. What would the neighbours think? People coming in with one face and going out with another?
But what are we going to do about Mr. Hoskins?
Oh, Mr. Hoskins. Can't be very comfortable for him in the window seat. And he's been so patient, poor dear. Well, I think Teddy had better get Mr. Hoskins downstairs right away.
Abby, I will not invite Jonathan to the funeral service.
Oh, no, dear. We'll wait until they've gone to bed and then we'll come down and hold the service.
Yes.
Oh, well, General Goethals was very pleased. He says the canal is just the right size.
Teddy, there's been another yellow fever victim.
Dear me, this will be a shock to the General.
Then we mustn't tell him about it.
But it's his department.
Oh, no, we mustn't tell him, Teddy. It would just spoil his visit.
I'm sorry, Aunt Abby. It's out of my hands. He'll have to be told. Army regulations, you know.
No, Teddy, we must keep it a secret.
Yes.
A state secret?
Yes, a state secret.
Promise?
You have the word of the President of the United States.
Now, Teddy, you go down back into the cellar, and when I call you, you come up and take the poor man down to the canal.
And we'll come down later and hold the service.
Where is the poor devil?
He's in the window seat.
Oh, Seems to be spreading. We've never had yellow fever there before.
Martha, when Jonathan and Dr. Einstein come back, let's see if we can get them to go to bed right away.
Oh, yes. And then by the time they're asleep, we'll be dressed for the funeral.
Jonathan, your room is waiting for you. You can go right up.
Oh. Well, I'm afraid we don't keep Brooklyn hours, but you two run along to bed.
Oh, no, you must be very tired, both of you. And we don't go to bed this early.
Well, you should. It's time I came back to take care of you.
Well, we weren't planning to go until...
Martha.
Well, come on then, Doctor. We'll go and unpack.
Yeah.
Good night, Aunt Abby. Good night, Aunt Martha.
Good night, Jonathan.
Good night, Doctor.
Good night, ladies.
Now, Teddy.
Everything's ready in the canal.
Good. Now for the yellow fever victim.
Oh, poor fella. It's very sad.
Lift the lid, Martha.
Very well.
That's right.
Oh, he's really very nice looking, considering he's a Methodist.
Now, lift, Teddy. That's right. Where you go?
Oh, poor devil's dropping like flies. It's a heavy one, this one.
Now we'll go and change for the funeral, dear.
Oh, yes, my black bombazine.
Yes, well, come on, dear.
All right, Johnny. They've gone to bed.
Good. I'll get the window open. You go round and hand Mr. Spinazzo through.
No, he's too heavy for me. You go outside and push. I stay here and pull. Then together we get him down to Panama.
All right. I'll take a look round outside the house. You open the window.
Yeah. All right. Oh, who left the window seat open, I wonder? Johnny. Okay, alley-oop. Oh, wait a minute. You lost a leg somewhere. Now I got him. Come on. Oh, shh. Oh, that was me, Johnny. I slipped.
Be more careful.
Well, his shoe came off. Yes. All right, Johnny, I got him. Oh. Johnny, somebody at the door. Go quick.
What about...
No. A manage here. Go quick. Oh. Come in. Where's that shoe? Oh, the other leg. In you go. That's it. Oh.
Miss Abby? Miss Martha? Miss Abby? Miss Martha? Who are you?
Who are you?
I'm Elaine Harper. I live next door.
Then what are you doing here?
I think you'd better explain what you're doing here.
We happen to live here.
You don't live here. I'm in this house every day and I've never seen you before. Where are Miss Abby and Miss Martha? What have you done to them?
Perhaps we'd better introduce ourselves. This is Dr. Einstein.
Delighted, happy.
Dr. Einstein?
And I'm Jonathan Brewster.
Oh, you're Jonathan.
I see you've heard of me. Why did you come here at this time of night?
I thought I saw someone prowling round the house. I suppose it was you. Is that your car?
You saw someone at the car?
Yes.
What else did you see?
Just that, that's all.
I think you're lying.
Oh, I think she tells the truth, Johnny. We let her go now.
I think she's lying. I think she's dangerous.
Take your hands off me!
It's going to be a private funeral.
Teddy, tell these men who I am.
That's my daughter, Alice.
No, Teddy!
What's the matter? What's happening?
We caught a burglar, a sneak thief. Go back to your room.
Oh, Mortimer. Mortimer, where have you been?
To the Nora Bayes Theatre, and I should have known better. Good Lord. Who are you?
That is your brother Jonathan. And this is Dr. Einstein.
I've come home, Mortimer.
Who did you say this was, Aunt Abby?
It's your brother, Jonathan. He's had his face changed. Dr. Einstein performed the operation.
Jonathan? Jonathan, you always were a horror, but you have to look like one.
Oh, now, easy, Johnny, easy.
Mortimer, have you forgotten the things I used to do to you when we were boys? Remember the time you were tied to the bedpost?
It is Jonathan. Yes, I remember. I remember you as the detestable, vicious, venomous form of animal life I ever knew.
What?
Well, now, don't you two boys start quarrelling again the minute you've seen each other.
There won't be any fighting, Aunt Abby. Jonathan, you're not wanted here. Get out.
Dr. Einstein and I have been invited to stay.
Not in this house.
Well, just for tonight.
I don't want him anywhere near me.
Yes, but we did invite them for tonight, and it wouldn't be very nice to go back on our word.
All right. But the first thing in the morning, out. Now, where are they sleeping?
Well, we've put them in Jonathan's old room.
Well, I'm sleeping in that room. I'm here to stay.
Johnny, we sleep down here.
You bet your life you sleep down here.
You sleep on the sofa, Johnny, and I sleep on the window seat.
Yes, you sleep on the window seat. The window seat? No, now let's not argue about it. I mean, that window seat's good enough for me. Well, I'll sleep on the window seat.
This argument, it makes me think of Mr. Spinalzo.
Spinalzo? Well, now, Mortimer, it isn't really necessary to inconvenience you like this. We'll sleep down here.
Jonathan, your sudden consideration for me is very unconvincing.
Come on, Doctor.
Yeah.
We'll be packed in a few minutes, and then you can have the room, Mortimer.
You're just wasting your time. I told you I'm sleeping down here.
Mortimer.
What's the matter, dear?
I've almost been killed.
You've almost been... Abby? Martha?
No, it was Jonathan.
You see, he mistook her for a sneak thief.
No, it was more than that. He's some kind of maniac. Mortimer, I'm afraid of him.
But, my darling, you're trembling. Have you any smelling salts, Auntie?
No, but do you think some hot tea or coffee?
Coffee. Make some for me, too, and some sandwiches. I haven't had any dinner.
Oh, we'll make something for both of you.
Do you know what time it is? I mean, why aren't you in bed? I mean, it's after 12. 12? Elaine, you've got to go home.
What?
No. You wanted some sandwiches. It won't take a minute.
We'll make a nice supper for both of you. Oh, and we'll open a bottle of wine.
Yes, all right. Let's have a bottle of wine. No wine.
Mortimer, what's going on in this house?
What do you mean? What's going on in this house?
You were supposed to take me to dinner and the theatre tonight. You called it off. You asked me to marry you. I said I would, and 5 minutes later you threw me out of the house. And tonight, just after your brother tries to strangle me, you want to chase me home. Now listen, Mr. Brewster, before I go home, I want to know where I stand. Do you love me?
I love you very much, Elaine. In fact, I love you so much, I can't marry you.
Have you gone crazy?
I don't think so. But it's just a matter of time. You see, insanity runs in my family. In fact, it practically gallops. That's why I can't marry you.
Now, wait a minute. You've got to do better than that.
No, dear, there's a taint in the Brewster blood.
Just because Teddy's a little...
No, it goes way back. I mean, the first Brewster, the one who came over on the Mayflower. You know, in those days, the Indians used to scalp the settlers. Well, he used to scalp the Indians.
Mortimer, that's ancient history.
No, the whole family. I mean, take my grandfather. He tried his patent medicines out on dead people to be sure he wouldn't kill them.
Made $1 million.
And then there's Jonathan. You just said he was a maniac. Well, he tried to kill you.
But he's your brother, not you. I'm in love with you.
And there's Teddy, too. I mean, you know Teddy. Well, he thinks he's Roosevelt. No, dear. No Brewster should marry. I realise now that if I'd met my father in time, I'd have stopped him.
Now, darling, all this doesn't prove you're crazy. Look at your aunts. They're Brewsters, aren't they? And they're the sanest, sweetest people I've ever known.
Even they have their peculiarities. My God, there's another one in there.
No, Mortimer, you can't tell me anything about your aunts.
I'm not going to. Elaine, you've got to go home. Something very important has just come up.
If you think you're going to get out of this by pretending you're insane, you're crazy. Maybe you're not going to marry me, but I'm going to marry you. I love you, you don't.
Well, if you love me, will you get the hell out of here?
Take me home, won't you? I'm afraid.
Afraid? A little walk through the cemetery? Well, good night, dear. I'll call you up in a day or two.
You critic!
Aunt Abby, come here.
Yes, dear, what is it? Where is Elaine?
I thought you promised me not to let anyone in this house while I was gone.
Well, Jonathan just walked in.
I don't mean Jonathan.
And Dr. Einstein was with him.
I don't mean Dr. Einstein. Who's that in the window seat?
Well, we told you, Mr. Hoskins.
It is not Mr. Hoskins. Look.
Now, who can that be?
Are you trying to tell me you've never seen this man before?
Certainly. But this is a fine how do you do. It's getting so that anybody thinks he can walk into this house.
Now, Aunt Abby, now, don't you try to get out of this. That's another of your gentlemen.
Mortimer, how can you say such a thing? Well, that man's an impostor. And if he came here to be buried in our cellar, he's mistaken.
Aunt Abby, you admitted that you put Mr. Hoskins in the window seat.
Yes, I did.
Well, this man couldn't have just got the idea from Mr. Hoskins. By the way, where is Mr. Hoskins?
Oh, well, he must have gone to Panama.
Oh, you buried him?
No, not yet. He's just down there waiting for the service, poor dear. We haven't had a minute, what with Jonathan in the house.
Jonathan?
We've always wanted to hold a double funeral, but I will not read a service over a total stranger.
A stranger? Aunt Abby, how can I believe you? I mean, there are 12 men in the cellar, and you admit that you poisoned them.
Yes, I did, dear, but you don't think I'd stoop to telling a fib. Martha?
Oh, Mortimer, I'd like to have a word with you.
A word's about all you'll have time for, Jonathan. You're beginning to bore me.
Yes, dear? What do you want? Martha, just look and see what's in that window seat.
No.
Now, Aunt Abby.
Oh, Jonathan. Jonathan, let Aunt Martha see what's in the window seat. Aunt Abby, I owe you an apology. I have very good news for you. Jonathan is leaving. He's taking Dr. Einstein and their cold companion with him. Jonathan, you're my brother. You're a Brewster. Now, I'm going to give you a chance to get away and take the evidence with you. Now, you can't ask for much more than that, can you? I'll count up to 3. 1, 2, 3. Very well. In that case, I'll have to call the police.
Are you still giving me orders after seeing what happened to Mr. Spinalzo?
Spinalzo?
I knew he was a foreigner.
Remember, what happened to Mr. Spinalzo can happen to you, too.
Hello, Miss Abby.
Oh, Officer O'Hara. Is there something we can do for you?
Well, I saw your lights on and I thought there might be sickness in the house. Oh, you've got company. Well, I'm sorry I disturbed you.
No. Don't go, officer. Don't go.
No, don't go.
Officer O'Hara, this is our nephew, Mortimer.
Oh, pleased to meet you.
And this is another nephew, Jonathan.
Oh, pleased to make your acquaintance. Well, it must be nice having your nephews visiting you, Miss Brewster. Are they going to stay for a bit?
I'm staying. My brother Jonathan is just leaving.
I've met you before, haven't I, Mr. Jonathan?
I'm afraid not. He hasn't been home for years.
Your face looks familiar to me. Maybe I've seen a picture of you somewhere.
I don't think so.
Yes, Jonathan, I'd hurry if I were you. Your things are all packed, aren't they?
Well, you'll be wanting to say your goodbyes. I'll be running along.
Yeah, but what's the rush? I mean, I'd like to have you around until my brother goes.
Well, I just dropped in to make sure everything was all right.
Oh, well, we're going to have some coffee in a minute. I mean, won't you join us?
Oh, I forgot the coffee.
Oh, I'd better make some more sandwiches. I ought to know your appetite by this time, Officer O'Hara.
Don't bother. I'm due to clock in a few minutes.
Well, you can have a cup of coffee with us. I mean, my brother will be gone soon. Well, sit down.
Oh, you're not Mortimer Brewster, the dramatic critic, are you?
Yes.
Oh, well, I'm certainly glad to meet you, Mr. Brewster. We are in the same line of business.
We are?
Yes. I am a playwright.
Eh?
Oh, this being on the police force is just temporary.
Well, how long have you been on the force?
12 years. I'm collecting material for a play.
I bet it's a honey.
Oh, well, it ought to be. With all the drama I see being a cop, Mr. Brewster, you've got no idea what goes on in Brooklyn.
I think I have.
I got to go and clock in.
Wait a minute, O'Hara. That play of yours, I may be able to help you.
You would? Oh, it was fate my walking in here tonight. Look, I'll tell you the plot.
You're on your way, Jonathan? Good. You haven't got much time, you know. But haven't you left something in the window seat? You can't go without all of your things. Well, O'Hara, it was nice meeting you. I'll see you again and we'll talk about your play.
Oh, I'm not leaving now, Mr. Brewster.
Why not?
Well, you just offered to help me with my play, didn't you? You and me are going to write my play together.
Well, I can't do that, O'Hara. I'm not a creative writer.
I'll do the creating. You just put the words to it.
But, O'Hara...
No, Mr. Brewster, I'm not leaving this house till I tell you the plot.
In that case, Mortimer, we'll be running along.
You can't go yet. You've got to take everything with you. Now, look, O'Hara, you run along now, eh? I mean, my brother's just going.
I can wait. I've been waiting 12 years.
Here's the coffee. Oh, I'm sorry I was so long.
Don't bring that in here. O'Hara, would you join us for a bite in the kitchen?
Are you sure you don't mind eating in the kitchen, Mr. O'Hara?
And where else would you eat?
Goodbye, Jonathan. Nice to have seen you again. Come on, Mortimer.
I'm glad you came to Brooklyn, Jonathan, because it gives me a chance to throw you out. I'll get going now. All three of you.
Doctor, this affair between my brother and me has got to be settled.
Now, Johnny, we got trouble enough. Your brother gives us a chance to get away. What more could you ask?
You don't understand. This goes back a good many years.
Now, Johnny, let's get going.
We are not going. We're going to sleep right here.
With a cop in the kitchen and Mr. Spinelzo in the window seat?
Oh, that's all he's got on us. We'll take Mr. Spinelzo, dump him in the sea, and come right back. Yeah.
Now, Johnny.
Doctor, you know I make up my mind.
Oh, yeah. When you make up your mind, you lose your head. Brooklyn ain't a good place for you.
Doctor.
Oh, okay. We got to stick together.
Right. Hide our bags in the cellar.
Okay.
Oh, move fast. Spinelzo can go out the same way he came in.
Oh, hey, Johnny.
Huh?
Come quick.
Oh, what's the matter?
Get a hole in the cellar.
Oh, yeah?
We got an ace in the hole. Look.
A stiff.
Jonathan?
Yes. Mortimer?
I thought I told you to get out
We are not going.
Oh, you're not? Mm-hmm. Well, do you want O'Hara to know what's in that window seat?
We're staying here.
All right. This gets me rid of you and Officer O'Hara at the same time.
If you tell O'Hara what's in the window seat, I'll tell him what's down in the cellar.
The cellar?
There's an elderly gentleman down there who seems to be very dead.
Well, what were you doing in the cellar?
Never mind about that. What's he doing in the cellar?
No, thanks, ma'am. I've had plenty.
Now, what are you going to say to O'Hara?
Mr. Brewster, your aunts want to hear my play too. Shall I get them in here?
No, O'Hara, you can't tell us now. You've got to clock in.
Oh, to hell with clocking in. I'll get your aunts in here and tell you the plot.
No, O'Hara, not in front of all these people. We'll get together alone, someplace later.
How about the back room at Kelly's?
Fine. You go and clock in and I'll meet you at Kelly's.
Well, why don't you two go down to the cellar?
Well, that's all right with me. Where is it?
No. We'll go to Kelly's, but you're going to clock in on the way.
All right. It'll only take me a couple of minutes.
I'll ditch him and be back in 5 minutes. Wait for me.
We'll wait for him, Doctor. I've waited a great many years for a chance like this.
We got him right where we want him. Did he look guilty?
Have they gone? Oh, we thought we heard somebody leave.
Oh, just Mortimer, and he'll be back in a few minutes. Is there any food left in the kitchen? Get something for us to eat while we bury Mr. Spinelzo in the cellar.
Oh, no. Oh, but he can't stay in our cellar. No, Jonathan, you've got to take him with you.
There's a friend of Mortimer's downstairs waiting for him.
A friend of Mortimer?
He and Mr. Spinelzo will get along fine together. They're both dead.
They must mean Mr. Hoskins, dear.
Mr. Hoskins?
You know about what's downstairs?
Well, but of course we do. And he's no friend of Mortimer's. He's one of our gentlemen.
Your gentlemen?
And we won't have any strangers buried in our cellar.
But Mr. Hoskins?
Mr. Hoskins isn't a stranger.
Besides, there's no room for Mr. Spinelzo. The cellar's crowded already.
Crowded? With what?
Well, there are 12 graves down there now.
12 graves?
And that leaves very little room, and we are going to need it.
You mean you and Aunt Martha have murdered...
Murdered? Certainly not. It's one of our charities.
What we've been doing is a mercy.
So you just take your Mr. Spinalzo out of here.
You've done that here in this house, and you've buried them down below.
Johnny, we've been chased all over the world. They stay right here in Brooklyn and do just as good as you do.
What?
Well, you've got 12 and they've got 12.
I've got 13.
No, Johnny, 12.
13. There's Mr. Spinalzo,
Aye.
then the first one in London, 2 in Johannesburg, 1 in Sydney, 1 in Melbourne, 2 in San Francisco, 1 in Phoenix, Arizona.
Phoenix.
The filling station.
Oh.
The 3 in Chicago and the 1 in South Bend. That makes 13.
Oh, you can't count the one in South Bend. He died of pneumonia.
He wouldn't have got pneumonia if I hadn't shot him.
No, Johnny, he died of pneumonia. He don't count.
He counts with me. I say 13.
No, Johnny. You got 12, and they got 12. The old ladies are just as good as you are.
Oh, they are they? Well, that's easily taken care of. All I need is 1 more. That's all, just 1 more.
Well, here I am.
Ah, Mortimer. Come in.
Hasn't Mortimer come back yet, Martha?
No.
Oh, it's a terrible thing they're doing downstairs, burying a good Methodist with a foreigner.
I will not have our cellar desecrated. It'll just have to be undone.
Yes, but we promised Mr. Hoskins a full Christian burial.
Right. Now, where's Teddy?
Mortimer, where have you been?
I've been over to Dr. Gilchrist's. I've got his signature on Teddy's commitment papers.
Mortimer, what's the matter with you?
Running round getting papers signed at a time like this.
Do you know what Jonathan's doing?
He's putting Mr. Hoskins and Mr. Spinalzo in together.
Oh, he is he? Well, let him in his room.
Oh, Teddy won't be any help.
When he signs these commitment papers, I can tackle Jonathan.
But what have they got to do with it?
Well, you had to go and tell Jonathan about those 12 graves. Now, if I can make Teddy responsible for those, I can protect you. Don't you see?
No, I don't see. Come along, Martha. We are going for the police.
The police? You can't go for the police.
Why can't we?
If you tell the police about Mr. Spinalzo, they'll find Mr. Hoskins too, and that might make them curious, and they'd find out about the other 12 gentlemen.
Mortimer, we know the police better than you do. I don't think they'd pry into our private affairs if we asked them not to.
But if they found your 12 gentlemen, they'd have to report to headquarters, and you couldn't expect a judge and a jury to understand.
Oh, Judge Coleman would.
Yes, we know him very well.
He always comes to church to pray, just before the elections.
Yes, and he's coming here to tea some day. He promised.
Oh, Abby, we must speak to him again about that. He's so lonely since his wife died.
Yes, poor man, of course. Well, now come along to the police, Martha.
No, you can't. I won't let you. You can't leave this house, and you can't have Judge Coleman to tea.
Well, if you're not going to do something about Mr. Spinalzo, we are.
I am going to do something. Now, we may have to call the police in later, but if we do, I want to be ready for them.
You've got to get Jonathan out of this house.
Yes, and Mr. Spinalzo too.
Oh, will you please let me do this my own way? I mean, I've got to see Teddy first.
Well, if they're not out of here by the morning, Mortimer, we are going to call the police.
They'll be out. I promise you.
Oh, Abby, that's a relief, isn't it?
Yes, if Mortimer's really going to do something at last. It just means that Jonathan's going to a lot of unnecessary trouble downstairs. Shall we better tell him? Oh, Jonathan, you might as well stop what you're doing in the cellar.
It's all done.
Well, it'll just have to be undone. You were all going to be out of this house by morning. Mortimer's promised.
Oh, are we? Oh, well, in that case, you and Aunt Martha can go to bed and have a pleasant night's sleep.
Yes, come, Abby.
Good night, Auntie.
No, not good night, Jonathan. Goodbye. By the time we get up, you'll be out of this house. Mortimer's promised.
And he has a way of doing it, too.
Oh, then Mortimer is back.
Oh, yes, he's up there talking to Teddy.
Goodbye, Jonathan.
Goodbye, Jonathan.
Perhaps you'd better say goodbye to Mortimer.
Oh, you'll see Mortimer.
Yes, I'll see Mortimer.
Well, there now. That's all fixed up smooth like a lake. Nobody would ever know they were down there. Now, come on, Johnny, let's go up to bed, yes?
You're forgetting, Doctor.
What?
My brother, Mortimer.
Oh, Johnny, tonight? We do that tomorrow or the next day.
No, tonight, now.
Johnny, please, I'm tired. And tomorrow I got to operate.
Yes, you're operating tomorrow, Doctor, but tonight we take care of Mortimer.
Okay, we do it, but the quick way.
No, Doctor, I think this calls for something special. Where are the instruments?
I won't do it, Johnny, I won't do it.
Where are they? Oh, yes. You hid them in the cellar. Where?
I won't tell you.
I'll find them, Doctor.
Oh, dear.
Ah, Doctor.
So, you go now. Hey, Mr. Mortimer.
No, Doctor. I'm waiting for something. Something important.
Please, you go now.
Dr. Einstein, I have nothing against you personally. You seem to be a nice fellow. Now take my advice and get out of this house and get just as far away as possible.
Now listen, Johnny's in a bad mood. When he's like this, he's a madman. Things happen. Terrible things.
Well, Jonathan doesn't worry me anymore.
Ah, Himmel, don't those plays you see teach you anything?
About what?
Well, at least people in plays act like they got sense. That's more than you do.
Oh, you think so, do you? Well, I wish you had to sit through some of the ones I've had to sit through. I mean, take the little opus I saw tonight, for instance. In this play, there's a man. He's supposed to be bright. He knows he's in a house with murderers. I mean, he ought to know he's in danger. Mm-hmm. He's even been warned to get out of the house. But does he go? No, no. He stays there. I ask you, Doctor, is that what an intelligent person would do?
You're asking me?
He didn't even have enough sense to be frightened or to be on guard. He just sits there, like this, waiting to be trussed up. And what do you think they use to tie him up with?
What?
The curtain cord.
Oh, well, why not? A good idea. Very convenient.
So there he sits, the big dope, just waiting to be trussed up and gagged.
That's it, Doctor. Now, his legs.
Yeah.
That's fixed him.
You're right about that fellow, Mr. Mortimer. He wasn't very bright.
Now, Doctor, we go to work.
Please, Johnny, the quick way.
Doctor, we're performing before a very distinguished critic.
Johnny.
Doctor.
All right, let's get it over.
All ready, Doctor. Now.
Oh, Himmel!
That idiot, Teddy, stop him. He'll wake the neighborhood. He goes next, that's all. He goes next.
No, Johnny, not Teddy. That's where I stop. Not Teddy.
We get to Teddy later.
We don't get to him at all.
We've got to work fast.
Yeah, the quick way. Here, Johnny.
Yes, Doctor. The quick way.
Hey, the Colonel's got to stop blowing that horn.
Oh, it's all right, officer. We're taking the bugle away from him.
There's going to be hell to pay in the morning. We promised the neighbours he wouldn't do it anymore.
It won't happen again, officer.
I'd better speak to him myself. Hey, Mr. Mortimer, you stood me up. I waited an hour at Kelly's for you. What's happened to him? Why is he tied up like that?
He was explaining the play he saw tonight. This is what happened to the fella in the play.
Did they have that in the play you saw tonight? They practically stole it from the second act of my play. Why, in my second act, just before the... Well, I'd better begin at the beginning. It opens in the theatre, in my mother's dressing room, where I was born. Only I wasn't born yet. Hey? Yes, well, take the gag out. No, we leave it. You've got to hear the plot without interrupting. Now, when the curtain goes up, my mother's sitting there making up, see. When all of a sudden, through the door, a man with a black moustache walks in, turns to her and says, "Miss Latour, will you marry me?" she is, lying unconscious across the table. He's standing over her with a hatchet, and I'm tied up in a chair, just like you are, Mr. Mortimer. The place is on fire, when all of a sudden, through the window, in comes the Mayor of New York. Well, how'd you like me play so far, Doctor?
Ah, well, it put Johnny to sleep.
Well, if he's got no more interest than that, let him sleep.
It's a wonder we're not all asleep.
All right, all right. Well, now, it's 3 days later.
Oh.
I've been transferred and I'm under charges. That's because somebody stole my badge, all right? I'm walking my beat when a guy I'm following, it turns out, is really following me. Don't let anybody in. So I figure I'll outsmart him. There's a vacant house on the corner. I goes in.
It's cops!
I stands there in the dark and I see the door handle turn.
Johnny, wake up! It's cops! Oh, let me get out
I
of here.
pulls me guns, braces myself against the wall, and I says, "Come in." Hello, boys.
What's going on here, O'Hara?
Hey, Brophy, what do you know? This is Mortimer Brewster. He's going to write me play with me. I'm just telling him the story.
Did you have to tie him up to make him listen and get him undone, Klein?
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
O'Hara, you better report at the station. The whole force is out looking for you.
Did they send you here for me?
We didn't know you were here.
We came to warn the old ladies there's hell to pay. The colonel blew that bugle in the middle of the night and the neighbours are complaining.
The lieutenant says the colonel's got to be put away someplace.
Yes.
Mr. Brewster, I got to get away, so I'll just run through the third act quick.
Get away from me.
Do you know what time it is, O'Hara? It's after 8 o'clock in the morning.
It is. Well, Mr. Brewster, them first 2 acts run a little long, but I don't see what we can leave out.
You can leave it all out.
I'd better let them know we found you, O'Hara. Hey, who's that guy asleep there?
That's my brother.
Well, wake him up, someone.
Here, come on, you.
Hello, this
Wake
is
up.
Brophy.
That's it, come
Mac,
on.
Tell the lieutenant he can call off the big manhunt. We got him in the Brewster house.
Huh?
Do you want us to bring him in? Oh, right. We'll hold him right here. The lieutenant's on his way over.
So, I've been turned in, huh? All right, you've got me. And I suppose you and that stool-pigeon brother of mine there will split the reward.
Reward?
Grab him.
Now, I'll do some turning in. You think my aunts are sweet, charming old ladies, don't you? Well, there are 13 bodies buried in their cellar.
Teddy!
What are you talking about?
You'd better be careful what you're saying about your aunts. They're friends of ours.
13 bodies. I'll show you where they're buried.
Oh, yes.
You don't want to go down and see what's in the cellar?
Oh, go on down in the cellar with him, Klein.
I'm not so sure I want to be down in the cellar with him. Look at that face.
You little...
Brophy, get him off me!
Here, what do you think you're doing? Take that!
Oh, thanks, pal. Well, what do you know about that?
Come in.
What the hell are you men doing here? I told you I was going to handle this.
Well, sir, we were just about to...
What happened to him on the floor there? Did he put up a fight?
Oh, this ain't the guy that blows the bugle. This is his brother. He tried to kill Klein.
Turn him over.
Yeah, right. We kind of think he's wanted somewhere.
Oh, you kind of think he's wanted somewhere, do you? You guys should look at the circulars we hang up in the station sometimes. Certainly he's wanted. In Indiana. Escaped from the prison for the criminal insane. He's a lifer.
Was there a reward mentioned?
Yes, and I'm claiming it.
He was trying to get us down in the cellar.
He said there were 13 bodies buried down there.
13 bodies buried in the cellar? And that didn't tip you off that he came out of a nut house?
I thought all along he talked sort of crazy.
Oh, it's Shakespeare O'Hara. Where have you been all night? And you
Yeah.
needn't bother to tell me.
Wait, I've been right here, sir, writing a play with Mortimer Brewster.
Oh, yes? Well, you're going to have plenty of time to write that play. Get back and report in. You're suspended!
Wait, can I come over sometime and use the station typewriter, sir?
No! And get out of here! Brophy.
Yes?
Take that guy on the floor somewhere else and bring him to. See what you can find out about his accomplice.
His what?
The guy that helped him to escape. He's wanted too. No wonder Brooklyn's in the shape it's in with a police force full of flatheads like you. Falling for that kind of a story. 13 bodies in the cellar.
But there are 13 bodies in the cellar.
Who are you?
On President Roosevelt.
What the hell is this?
Now, he's the fellow that blows the bugle.
Well, Colonel, you've blown your last bugle.
Dear me. Who's that on the floor? Another yellow fever victim?
What?
All the bodies in the cellar are yellow fever victims.
Brophy, will you get that guy on the floor out of here?
Yes, sir. Come on, Colonel. You help us.
Delighted to be of assistance.
That's right.
Come on. Captain.
And who are you?
Captain, I'm Mortimer Brewster.
Are you sure?
Of course I'm sure. I'd like to talk to you about my brother Teddy, the one who blew the bugle.
Mr. Brewster, we are not going to talk about that. He's got to be put away.
I agree. In fact, it's all arranged.
Where's he going?
Happydale. But I want you to know that everything that's happened round here, Teddy's responsible for. Now, those 13 bodies in the cellar.
Yes. Those 13 bodies in the cellar. It isn't enough that the neighbours are all afraid of him, and he's disturbing the peace with that bugle. But can you imagine what would happen if that cockeyed story about 13 bodies in the cellar got around? And now he's starting a yellow fever scare. Marvellous, isn't it?
13 bodies. Do you think anybody would believe that story?
Oh, well, you can't tell. Some people are just stupid enough. About a year ago, a crazy guy starts a murder rumour over in Greenpoint, and I had to dig up a half an acre just to prove that...
Good morning, Mortimer.
Oh, good morning, dear.
This is Mr. Witherspoon. He's come to meet Teddy.
To meet Teddy?
Mr. Witherspoon's the superintendent of Happydale.
Oh, how do you do? This is Captain...
Lieutenant Rooney. I'm glad you're here, Super, because you're taking him back with you today.
Today? I didn't know that...
Not today.
Look, Elaine, I've got a lot of business to attend to, so you run along home and I'll call you up.
Nuts.
I'd no idea it was this immediate.
The papers are all signed. He goes today.
How dare you! You men will find out that I'm no mollycoddle. When the President of the United States is treated like that, what's the country coming to?
There's your man, Super.
Just a minute. Mr. President, I have very good news for you. Your term of office is over.
Oh, is this March the 4th?
Practically.
Well, let's see. Oh, now I go on my hunting trip to Africa. I must get started immediately. I'll get my equipment. Goodbye. Goodbye, Aunt Abby. Goodbye, Aunt Martha. I'm on my way to Africa. Isn't it wonderful? Charm!
Good morning, darlings.
Oh, we have visitors.
This is Lieutenant Rooney.
Oh, how do you do, Lieutenant?
How do you do?
My, you don't look like the fusspot that the policemen say you are.
What?
And you haven't met Mr. Witherspoon. He's the superintendent of Happydale.
Oh, Mr. Witherspoon. How do you do?
How do you do?
You've come to meet Teddy?
He's come to take him.
Aunties, the police want Teddy to go there today.
Oh, no!
Not while we're alive.
I'm sorry, Miss Brewster, but it has to be done.
But we won't permit it. We'll promise to take the bugle away from him.
Yes, we won't be separated from Teddy.
I'm sorry, ladies, but the law's the law. He's committed himself and he's going.
Well, if he goes, we are going too.
Yes, you'll have to take us with him.
Well, why not, Mr. Witherspoon?
It's sweet of them to want to, but it's impossible. You see, we can't take sane people at Happydale.
Oh, Mr. Witherspoon, if you let us live there with Teddy, we'll see that Happydale is in our will. Yes, and for a very generous amount.
Oh, heaven knows we could use the money, but I'm afraid
Now,
it's quite...
let's be sensible about this, ladies. I've got serious work to do. You know there are still murders to be solved in Brooklyn.
Yes. Oh, are there?
It's not only his bugle blowing and the neighbours all afraid of him, but things would just get worse. Sooner or later, we'd be put to the trouble of digging up your cellar.
Our cellar?
Yes. Your nephew's saying that there are 13 bodies buried in your cellar.
But there are 13 bodies in our cellar.
Oh, no.
Well, if you think Teddy invented it, you come down to the cellar with us and we'll prove it to you.
Yes, but there's one, a Mr. Spinalzo, who doesn't belong here and who will have to leave. But the other 12 are our gentlemen.
Well, I don't think the lieutenant wants to go down into the cellar. I mean, well, he was telling me that only last year he had to dig up half an acre. Well, weren't you, Lieutenant?
That's right.
Oh, but you wouldn't have to dig here. The graves are all marked. We put flowers on them every Sunday.
Flower... Superintendent, don't you think you can find room for these ladies?
Well, they'd have to be committed.
Well, well, Teddy committed himself. I mean, can't they commit themselves? Can't they sign the papers?
Why, certainly.
No, if we can go with Teddy, we'll sign the papers. Where are they?
Yes, where are they?
Here they are. He's coming round, Lieutenant.
Oh, good morning, Mr. Klein. Are you here too?
Yes, ma'am. Brophy and I have got your other nephew out in the kitchen.
Well, sign him up, Superintendent. I want to get this all cleaned up. 13 body.
If you'll sign right here, Miss Brewster.
And you on this one, Aunt Abby?
Oh, you know, I'm really looking forward to going. The neighbourhood here has changed so.
Just think, a front lawn again.
Oh, we're overlooking something.
What?
Well, we're going to need the signature of a doctor.
Oh. Ah, Dr. Einstein, you're just in time. Will you come over here? We'd like you to sign some papers.
Oh, no, please. I was just on my way.
Come right
urgent.
over, Doctor. At one time last night, I thought the doctor was going to operate on me. That's right. Just sign here, Doctor.
Oh,
good.
yeah.
And here.
May I use the phone?
Go ahead.
Are you leaving, Doctor?
Oh, I think I must.
Oh, aren't you going to wait for Jonathan?
I don't think we are going to the same place.
We picked up that guy that's wanted in Indiana. There's a description of his accomplice. Read it to me, will you? Yeah. 44, 5'6", talks with a German accent.
Oh.
Poses as a doctor. Thanks, Max.
It's all right, Lieutenant. The doctor here has just completed the signatures.
Thanks, Doc. You're really doing Brooklyn a service.
You mean I can go?
Sure. Why not?
Oh, thank you. Heaven will reward you for this. Ladies, Gesundheit. Gentlemen, Mazel tov.
Now, Mr. Brewster, you sign as next of kin.
Yes, of course. Right here.
That's fine.
And that makes everything complete? Everything legal?
Oh, yes.
Well, aunties, now you're safe.
When do you think you'll be ready to start, ladies?
Mr. Witherspoon, why don't you go upstairs and tell Teddy just what he can take along with him?
Upstairs?
I'll show you.
No, Mortimer, you stay here. We want to talk to you. Yes, Mr. Witherspoon, just upstairs and turn to the left.
Thank you. I shan't be long.
Well, Mortimer, now that we are moving, this house really is yours.
Yes, dear, we want you to live here now.
No, Aunt Abby. This house is too full of memories.
Oh, but you'll need a house when you and Elaine are married.
Darlings, that's very indefinite.
It is nothing of the kind. We're going to be married right away.
Mortimer, you know, we're really very worried about something.
Now, darlings, you're going to love it at Happy Day.
Oh, yes, we're very happy about that. Well, that's just it. We don't want anything to go wrong.
Will they investigate those signatures?
Oh, don't worry. They're not going to look up Dr. Einstein.
No, it's not his signature, dear. It's yours.
You see, you signed as next of kin.
Well, of course. Why not?
Well, dear, it's something we never wanted to tell you. But now you're a man. And it's something Elaine should know, too. You see, dear, you're not really a Brewster.
What?
You see, your mother came to us as a cook, and you were born about 3 months afterwards, and she was such a sweet woman and such a good cook, we didn't want to lose her. So our brother married her.
I'm not really a Brewster?
Oh, now don't feel badly about it, dear.
And Elaine, it won't make any difference to you.
Elaine, did you hear? Do you understand? I'm a bastard.
Yes, isn't that nice?
Oh, darling.
Well, now I really must see about breakfast.
No, Mortimer's coming over to my house. Father's gone to Philadelphia, and Mortimer and I are going to have breakfast together.
Yes, I need some coffee. I've had quite a night. Well, come and see you darlings at Happydale. Goodbye.
Dear boy.
Oh, I hope they'll be very happy.
We won't need the wagon. My car's out front.
Oh, are you leaving now, Jonathan?
Yes, he's going back to Indiana. There's some people there who want to take care of him for the rest of his life. Now, come on.
Well, Jonathan, isn't it nice to know you have some place to go to?
We're leaving too.
Yes, we're going to Happy Dale.
Then this house is seeing the last of the Brewsters.
Unless Mortimer wants to live here.
I have a suggestion to make. Why don't you turn this property over to the church?
Oh, Oh, we never thought of that.
After all, it should be part of the cemetery.
All right, get going. I'm a busy man.
Goodbye, aunties. I can't better my record now, but neither can you. At least I have that satisfaction. The score stands even, 12 all. Goodbye.
Oh, Jonathan always was a mean boy. Never could stand seeing anyone get ahead of him.
I wish we could show him he isn't so smart. Oh, Mr. Witherspoon, does your family live with you at Happydale?
I have no family.
Oh, I suppose you consider everyone at Happydale your family.
I'm afraid you don't quite understand. As head of the institution, I have to keep quite aloof.
Oh, but that must make it very lonely for you.
Oh.
It does. But my duty is my duty.
Well, Martha, if Mr. Witherspoon won't join us for breakfast, I think at least we should offer him a glass of elderberry wine.
Elderberry wine?
We make it ourselves.
Why, yes, sir. Of course, at Happydale our relationship will be more formal, but here... you don't see much elderberry wine nowadays. I thought I'd had my last glass of it.
Oh, no.
No, this is your last glass, Mr. Witherspoon.
In Arsenic and Old Lace by Joseph Kesselring, Abby Brewster was played by Sybil Thorndike, Teddy by Desmond Walter Ellis, Dr. Harper by Lewis Stringer, Officer Brophy, David Valler, Officer Klein, John Rye. Martha Brewster was played by Athene Seiler, Elaine Harper by Prunella Scales, Mortimer Scales by Dinsdale Landon, Mr. Gibbs and Lieutenant Rooney by Edward Kelsey, and Jonathan Brewster by Heron Carvick. Dr. Einstein was played by Gerald Cross, Officer O'Hara, Alaric Cotter, and Mr. Witherspoon by Lockwood West, and the producer was Graham Gould.
Bird of Paradise. Jerzy Grabianski is a high-class burglar with a passion for ornithology and British Impressionist paintings. Like jazz-loving D.I. Charlie Resnick, he has Polish roots, a firm sense of justice and a soft spot for the ladies, especially the energetic Sister Teresa.
Bird of Paradise by John Harvey, with Keith Barron as Detective Inspector Charlie Resnick.
Dizzy. Oh, Dizzy, for heaven's sake, get your claws cut. All right, I'm getting up. Ugh. Yes, 10 to 6. Yes. Yes, just wait. Just a minute, it's coming.
In the Nottingham region will continue to be cold and damp, with showers, sometimes heavy, expected through the morning. Later in the day, strengthening easterly winds will bring further squally showers, which should, however, die down in the evening,
right, come on,
heralding a milder night with only a slight possibility of frost in the region.
And Dizzy.
So that's
Yes,
your regional
eat out of
weather
your
for
own
today,
bowl.
and now back to Clive in the studio.
Thanks, Mary. And after listening to what this particular day has in store, if you've an excuse for not going out and battling with the elements, I hope you'll get the kettle on and stay tuned to us for the usual mixture of interviews and competitions with some wonderful prizes to be won. And, of course, great music. Like this, from Manfred Mann.
Scott? Is that you?
Oh, it's the bogeyman!
Oh, Scott! For heaven's sake! You're all wet.
Oh, that'll be the rain then.
Your jacket's soaking.
Don't fuss, it'll dry. Right, let me just get a shot of this lot and I'll shove it on radiator. Give you a chance to make the tea, eh?
Scott?
Yeah.
The bag.
Bag?
On your shoulder, the duffel bag.
Oh, that bag. What about it?
You've not got...
Not what?
Nothing.
That's better.
Scott?
Yeah?
Try not to wake the baby.
Sir?
Yes, Graham.
Just checking you're on your way in.
5 minutes in this traffic, 10 tops.
Right.
Manfred Mann there with the unmistakable voice of Paul Jones and the mighty Quinn. And here's another voice listeners have grown well used to.
Hello, this is Sister Teresa, reminding you that lines for our helpline will be open from 11 this morning. Remember that I will be in the studio later in the day
Scott,
to take your
tea's
calls
ready.
and offer advice about whatever problems you may
Turn it
have.
Off!
If you
Now!
have something
What's the matter?
Don't play silly buggers on me, you know what's the matter? That's her, isn't it? Sister, whatever her name is, the one you went running off to.
I was upset.
Blowing off at the mouth, inviting her to poke her nose in.
I was tired. Kylie wasn't sleeping and we weren't getting on.
Well, no wonder.
I needed someone to talk to, that's all.
Yeah, and she talks you all right. She'd a sight more than bloody talk. If she had her way, you'd have been taking Kylie off to your mum's or waiting till I was out one day and changing the lock.
That's not true. That's simply not true.
No?
No. Scott, look, let's not argue. Here, drink this before it gets cold.
Okay. Yeah, thanks.
I hate it when we do that.
What?
Fight over nothing.
Yeah. Come here. Oh, Christ.
It's okay. I'll go.
Yeah, right.
Bad night then, Graham.
Rash of break-ins in the park, 5 of them notified so far. Whoever it was either knew what they were doing or struck lucky. Tasty bit of jewellery left home by all accounts. Cash too.
And you reckon it for the same person?
Sounds that way. That will no more left.
We've got somebody down there.
Chance to be a fine thing. Carl's off sick, gave switched shifts so he can go to the wedding and lives on that course at Bramshill. All in all, what you might call a widget understaffed. I shall have to knock on a few doors myself. Oh, before I forget, that coven of nuns as lives down by the community centre.
The Sisters of Our Lady of Perpetual Help. I just heard one of them on the radio.
I dare say. Any road, one of them's been on the phone to us already, asking for you in particular.
What's the problem?
Same old malarkey, paint on the walls, stuff pushed through the letterbox.
Oh, well, OK, I'll get to it later.
Right.
And there's nothing else urgent, I mean.
Let's not hold your breath.
Jerry!
Vernon.
Just on time.
What else did you expect?
The rain's almost stopped. Let's walk around the lake. You didn't mind meeting out here?
Not at all.
Pleasant stroll around the country park, I thought, before going into the city. Fresh air, no chance of being overheard. And besides, ornithology, isn't that your thing?
One of them.
Jerzy Grabiansky, Renaissance man. Our latest acquisition. There were no problems?
None at all.
The layout?
Exactly as you described it.
Good, good. And the painting?
The boot of my car. We can transfer it later.
Excellent. And so, on to the last.
You've got a ready buyer for all these pieces?
A banker in Japan. Anniversary present for his second wife.
Touching.
I thought you'd have approved.
How so?
Sentimental gestures. Sort of thing you went in for, I believed.
Not anymore.
Twice bitten?
Something like that.
Nottingham was where you met her, wasn't it? What was her name?
Maria Roy.
Some kind of actress, as I recall.
Some kind.
Well, all done and dusted in the past.
Exactly.
3 years ago? 4?
4.
And you've been back since? Nottingham, I mean.
No.
I dare say you'd find it changed.
Yes. A Starbucks on every corner, all bar one. Café Rouge. Changed till it looks like everywhere else.
Progress, Jerry. The march of universal capitalism. You can't ignore it.
You can try. Here you are. Let's hope your friend in Japan is pleased.
Amazing, isn't it?
What's that?
How light a few 100,000 can feel in the palm of your hand. What do they say? Fair exchange is no robbery. Anyway, these are for you. The house in the park.
This alarm, it's connected directly to the police station.
Not anymore. False economy.
All right. I'll be in touch when it's done.
Good luck.
Inspector, it's good to see you.
Sister Teresa, I heard you on the radio just this morning.
Ah, the wonders of modern technology. I was here all the time, but you'll come in.
Thank you very much.
When the doorbell went, I thought it was someone after food. Toast. That's popular this time of day.
Well, if you're offering.
Good morning, Inspector.
Sister Bonaventura.
If it's toast you're after, you'll have to make it yourself. I've got to do these potatoes, and Sister Teresa should be off on her rounds if the word outreach is to mean anything at all.
I'll skip the toast then, if it's all the same to you. It was the damage I came to see.
Third time in as many days. Graffiti on the walls 2 meters high. Heretic bitches go home. If whoever's doing it could only spell, it might not be so offensive.
2 broken windows at the side.
At least this time we were spared the excrement.
Poke through the letterbox inside an old newspaper.
If it had been wrapped in one of the tabloids, there would have been a certain symmetry at least.
You've no idea who might be responsible?
None whatsoever.
Nobody making threats of any kind? No enemies? Somebody in the neighbourhood you might have rubbed up the wrong way? Offended?
Oh, I don't see how. We've always been at pains to get on with the local shopkeepers, let the local residents know what we're doing.
It's not as if we thrust our religion in people's faces, Inspector. We don't go round brandishing crucifixes or rosaries. We've put off our habits for ordinary civilian clothes.
Maybe not your religion, sister, but you did spend much of the last election walking around Slab Square with a banner for the Socialist Alliance Party.
Who do you think the good Lord would vote for if he came back to reclaim his kingdom on earth, Inspector? Ian Duncan Smith? Tony Blair?
Besides, surely no one would be so small-minded as to take offence at such things.
I hardly think the damage suggests somebody of great intellect, but I'll have a word with the duty officers, see if we can't double up patrols passing by. And if you do think of anybody who might be bearing a grudge...
We'll be sure to let you know.
Inspector, if you'll just wait 1 minute, I'll walk along with you a little way.
Do you have many people to see?
Oh, not too many, this morning at least. It's mostly the elderly, you know, housebound. Mothers with young children. They want someone to talk to for the most part. Little more than that.
Ah, but you are on the radio live.
Ah, that's later today.
And you enjoy that? Broadcasting?
Enjoy? No, I don't know if that's the word. But yes, I think sometimes it does some good. It lets people know that we're here, at least. Increases our visibility, as Sister Bonaventura puts it, but then she's the one with the marketing MBA.
You don't worry that it might make you a little too visible?
It is only radio, Inspector. People don't point at me in the street.
There. I saw you coming across the street. One tall, skinny latte, as per usual.
Oh, thank you. I'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.
I'll have another espresso, please.
No problem. Espresso, Suzanne.
That woman.
The latte.
She a regular?
Enough so I remember her.
Well, not a woman you'd easily forget. Tall, a good stride, top coat flowing out behind her.
You'd better calm down.
She's spoken for?
In a manner of speaking, yeah.
If I were the kind of man who fell in love at first sight, which of course I'm not. Not any longer.
That'll be £1, sir, please. Sugar's on the table.
What would you say if we called it a day? There's only so much my body can take, and I don't know how to change what you feel when my words don't soothe you and my hands don't heal.
Oh, sister, come on in.
Thank you.
Let me get you a cup of tea.
Oh, I don't want to be any bother now. Just had a coffee besides.
Go on, keep me company. I've just got the kettle on.
Oh, all right then. How's the baby?
Taking a nap, thank God. Oh, sorry, sister.
Don't worry.
She wouldn't settle last night. Had me up 3 times. And if that wasn't all, she was awake again early this morning. Wouldn't go back down.
Oh, does she maybe have a cold or something?
Don't think so. Sugar, sister?
Just the one. Oh, that's lovely. Thanks.
Biscuit, sister?
Oh, go on then.
Let's go and sit down. I'll push away some of that stuff.
Thank you. You know, there's someone you could arrange to see about the sleeplessness.
How do you mean? A doctor or what?
A therapist, I suppose it would be.
Scott have a fit.
Is it you or Scott that's getting up 3 times a night?
It's Scott she wakes in the mornings.
And he doesn't like it.
Sends him crazy.
And he lashes out?
Sometimes.
Is that how you got that bruise to your eye?
Oh, that? No, I just slipped, didn't I?
Shana?
At least if he's taking it out on me, he's not touching the baby.
Do you think he would? Or hit the baby, I mean?
I don't know. No, he loves her. Of course he does, only sometimes when he loses his temper, it's as if something inside him snaps and...
Shana, haven't we been through all this before?
I don't know. I don't know what to do.
Look, you remember we talked before about finding you and the baby a place in a refuge? Just for the time being. Well, maybe that's an option we should review again.
Now then, Graham, how's the fort?
The fort, as you put it, is held together with spit and a prayer and not much else.
No sign of reinforcements?
It's their eckers, like.
Well, best let me pitch in then. What needs attention?
Them park break-ins. Bloody great places backing onto tennis courts. You know the ones up at it too. Wednesdays and Fridays I play golf with your chief constable, that kind of thing.
And very likely true.
Well, let him get down there then instead of polishing his niblick or whatever it is they do. Any road, I paid a call on most of them. Needed a break before crossing swords with the rest.
Let me get a few things sorted out on my desk, and I'll come with you.
Right.
So what do you think, Inspector? Is this where they gained access?
It looks likely. What do you reckon, Graham?
Aye, window's been forced. Crudely, too. Whoever it was had only have had to shin up that outside pipe. Not difficult if you've a mind.
Oh, dear. Oh, I did think, well, this high up it was safe. And it was closed tight, I swear.
Well, something a bit more sophisticated in the way of window locks. That'll be a start.
Oh.
We could likely recommend a good locksmith if you think that would help.
Oh, would you? I do get so nervous, you see, living alone. And then, of course, there are the paintings. That was my first thought when I knew someone had broken in, that they'd be gone. But no, he didn't touch them at all.
Paintings, Mrs. Johnson?
Miss.
Sorry, Miss Johnson. But which paintings are these?
Magnificent, aren't they? Real painting, you see. Painstaking. Not this twaddle that you see today. Sheep's entrails in formaldehyde. Someone's soiled underwear. Oh, the Turner Prize. Oh, poor Turner must be quaking in his grave, seeing his name taken in vain.
I dare say.
Whereas here, you just have to look at these to know a real artist was at work. Or perhaps, Inspector, you don't agree?
No, I do. At least I think I do. The landscape here on the left, shepherd and sheep. Now, I can see the skill in that.
And not the other? How about you, Sergeant? Perhaps it's more to your taste.
The sun, is it? Setting over some kind of field?
Sunset, yes. Eventide.
Seems all out of focus to me. Sort of blurred.
Exactly. And isn't it wonderful how he catches it just so? The way the light trembles just before it fades. It's a study for his most famous work, you know.
His?
D.L. Herbert D.L.
And he's famous?
Oh, amongst connoisseurs, I suppose. Collectors. Poor Herbert, he made the mistake of being born British, you see. Had he had the foresight to have been born French, it would have been a wholly different matter. The French Impressionists, Monet, Degas, everyone knows their names at least. But amongst the British, some people might have heard of Whistler, but who else? Certainly not Herbert D.L.
Even so, they'd be worth something. To a collector, that is.
Oh, yes. The study for departing day, especially. He painted so little, you see, especially toward the end of his life. He would have been, 60, I suppose, when he did his best work. But then he lived on another 30 years. It's extraordinary, isn't it? He was born in the middle of the 19th century, and yet he lived to see the first years of the Second World War. He was even older than I am now.
And in all those last 30 years, he didn't paint at all.
He lost his health, Inspector, I'm afraid. His eyesight, too. Can you imagine for a painter what a loss that must be?
Like a trumpeter losing his lip?
I'm sorry, Inspector.
Nothing, it doesn't matter. The list you gave me of what was taken, now I'll make sure it's circulated. And it is worth seeing to those locks. Sergeant Millington here will have a word with our crime prevention officer, get him to come round and give the place a once-over. He'll advise you on what's best.
Thank you, Inspector. Sergeant. Listening to an old woman babble on, you've been very kind.
Oh, not at all. It's been really interesting.
Oh, I'll see you out.
What do you think, Graham?
If they're really worth something, I'd hand them over to the Castle Museum, let them do the worrying. Not that I can see in mine. Paying out thousands for stuff like that. Mrs. bought a couple of nice pictures the other week for our front room. Argos, $12.99 a pair.
Oh, you still here, then?
Where did you think I was going to be?
I don't know. Thought you might have taken Carly up to the park, I suppose.
It's raining. Besides, you're still sleeping.
I'm not surprised. Keeping me awake half the night.
Scott, you were out half the night.
Yeah, well, that's my choice, isn't it?
Scott, if you go getting into trouble...
Shut it.
But it concerns us, me and Kyle.
I said, shut it!
All right. All right. I'm sorry. Listen, I've been thinking. Kylie, all these problems with sleeping. Maybe we should take her to see someone.
Like bloody Santa Claus, you mean?
A therapist.
A what?
A therapist. Someone who deals with kids who won't sleep and stuff
Who
like...
put that idea into your head? No. Wait, don't tell me. I know. You've been talking to her again, haven't you? That sister.
No.
Don't lie. She's been here. Look. Look here. 2 mugs. 2!
Scott, no! Scott! Scott, please!
I warned you, didn't I? I warned you what would happen if that woman interfered again.
Oh, Scott! Scott!
What I want you to realise, Ewan, there are always people out there who can help you with your problems. People at the other end of a telephone, and a list of voluntary organisations is always available from our helpline. So, finally today, to Ewan and everyone else who might be listening, whatever you believe, may God bless you, and remember, you are never truly alone.
Thank you, Sister Teresa of the Sisters of Our Lady of Perpetual Help. She'll be back at the same time next week, finding answers to your problems, taking your calls. And now to get the afternoon really swinging, here's a little something to get your memory banks working and your feet tapping. Thanks, Sister. Great job.
Oh, thank you. I'll see you tomorrow.
Right.
Sister Teresa.
Yes?
From the helpline.
Yes?
Programme just finished, has it?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Off in the car now. Drive home.
No, I haven't a car. I was simply cutting through.
Go well, though, did it? The programme?
I think so, but perhaps I'm not the best person to judge.
Lots of chat. Good advice.
I hope so. I try.
Turned a few more women against their husbands, have you? Set them against the fathers of their kids.
Look, I'm sorry, but I really do have to be
Like
going.
you done with my Shanna.
You're Scott.
Clever girl. Got it in one.
Scott, listen, if you'd like to go somewhere and talk, we could go back into the studio, sit down and...
And what? Listen to you mouthing off about what a bad bloke I am. A rotten father.
Now, Scott, you know I've never said about you being a bad father, and I'm sure you're not. You're not
God,
at
you're
all.
changing your tune now, aren't you?
But it does seem to me that you and Shana, there are certain difficulties.
Difficulties? You know what our biggest difficulty is?
Please, my arm... You're hurting.
You and your big mouth and your bloody advice. Ah! Right, you bitch. I'll get you for that if it's the last thing I do. Now, see how you like this. And this. If you ever come near my wife again, I will bloody kill you. I swear it.
Hey! Hey, you!
What?
What the hell do you think you're doing?
What's it to you, you pot? Oh! Ah! You broke my bloody nose!
It'll do for starters.
Don't!
No!
Please! Don't hurt him!
You all right?
Yes. Yes, I think so.
Here, let me help you sit up a little.
Thank you.
Perhaps if you lean back against this car.
Thank you.
I should go and phone for an ambulance.
No, please, if you'll just help me to... There. Oh, that's better. If I can just sit here a little while longer.
Of course.
No.
But then, that's a nasty cut on your face.
Yes.
And the way he was lacing into you with his feet, I shouldn't be surprised if there aren't a couple of broken ribs. What was all that about, anyhow?
Oh, it's too complicated to explain.
But you knew him. You know who he was.
You know, I haven't even thanked you.
Oh, there's no need.
Yes, there is. Mr...
Grabyansky. Jerzy Grabyansky. Jerry. And you?
Teresa.
Teresa what?
Wimbrel. Why do you laugh?
Wimbrel. It's a bird. But I expect you know that already. Sort of curl you. Notably long legs. You know, I saw you earlier today. Upper Parliament Street. You were buying a coffee?
I'm sorry, I don't remember.
No reason you should. But I watched you striding out. It was a fine sight.
Mr. Grabiansky.
Jerry.
Jerry.
Yeah?
I think it'll be all right if you let go now.
I'm sorry?
My hand. You still have hold of my hand.
So I do. Was that your husband, the man attacking you?
No, not mine.
But the ring, you are married?
In a way.
Which way is that?
A way you might find difficult to understand.
Scott! Whatever's happened?
Never mind what's happened.
Your face.
What about it?
Looks terrible. Here, let me.
I said leave it.
Your nose, it's bleeding.
Get away.
Scott! Oh!
You want someone to fuss around with? Fuss with that.
It's all right.
Here's a list of all the stuff as was taken last night. Jewellery, silver.
Right.
I'll have someone go the rounds as soon as we're up to snuff.
Somebody local, you think, then, Graham?
Known and all, I'd not be surprised.
Ah, it'd be nice to get a result.
Save the Chief Constable getting his ear chewed off at the 19th. Millington, CID. For you, the Sister Bonaventura.
She's all right.
If you can call 2 broken ribs and a severe laceration below the eye all right, yes, she's fine.
And has she any idea who was responsible?
Oh, she knows right enough. She knows, but she won't say.
But why ever not?
You'll have to ask her that, Inspector, if you can get a word in edgeways.
Visitors, then?
Just the one. Her saviour, as she calls him. Though I did point out he looks a little different from most of the pictures of our saviour I've seen. This one looks quite a lot like you, as a matter of fact. Arrived half an hour ago with chocolates, flowers, and a copy of the Collins Field Guide to the Birds of Britain and Europe. Don't ask me why.
You're doing it again, you know.
What's that?
Holding my hand.
Do you mind?
Oh, it's a good hand, yours. A strong hand. Is this the one you hit him with, or was that the other?
I forget.
You do not. Now, let me be and get out of here. I'm sure you've got lots of things you have to do, far more important than sitting there eating my chocolates.
A sweet tooth.
Oh, a sweet tongue, you mean? You could charm the birds down out of the trees.
All right. But before I go, there's just one question.
Oh, there always is. How did a nice girl like...
No. It's not that question.
Cherchez.
Inspector.
Clearly, the two of you know one another.
The Inspector and I, we go back a long way.
Professionally speaking.
More than that, I hope, Inspector.
Cherchez makes a habit of leaping to the rescue, sort of good Samaritan, you might say.
Robin Hood, I prefer to think.
What was it last time? A man with a near-fatal heart attack.
All that first aid training with the Woodcraft folk. A shame to let it go to waste.
I'll go on ahead and see Sister Teresa. You be in a minute, Inspector?
Yes, of course. I didn't know.
What's that?
You were back in the city.
Oh, it's just a couple of days flying visit.
Business?
If it were Charlie, do you think I'd tell you?
Outside of the interrogation room, probably not.
But you can rest easy. I'm here to see a friend, look around. Things have changed since... well, since I was here before.
You and Grice?
A great second story man, Charlie. One of the best.
You still in touch?
Not really. Prison visiting gives me the shivers.
Mm-hmm. Well, it might. You and Grice, you must have burgled, what, 30 houses? More before we got onto you. Those big places in the park always had an attraction for you, if I remember.
Said Charlie, purely social this time. Purely social.
I'd like to believe it.
You still go to the Polish club, Charlie?
From time to time.
See you there, then, before I go. A vodka or two. Chat about old times.
And you don't think there's any connection between your attack and the vandalism at the house?
No. No, I don't think so.
And if I were to ask you again about your attacker...
Oh, it was all so sudden, Inspector. You must understand
I do. I think I do. For whatever reason, I think you're protecting somebody, and I only hope it doesn't rebound on you. Next time, there may be no Sir Galahad galloping to the rescue.
It's the wife I'm frightened for. The baby, too. If he thinks I've given him away to the police, chances are he'll take it out on them.
Perhaps so. But that's not all that's worrying you.
Is it so obvious?
He sits there close to you, looking at you in that certain way, a handsome man, most would say, and you think, if I weren't who I am, if I hadn't taken these vows...
Am I so terrible?
Only human. We're all prey to the occasional stirrings beneath the cloth, and it's difficult not to be flattered when someone falls head over heels in that sort of a way. Coup de foudre. Sudden conversion of a secular kind.
Oh, he was so, well, persuasive, and after what he did for me, I felt I owed him something.
I can only imagine.
The name of the man who attacked me. I wouldn't tell the inspector, but I did tell him. I hope I haven't done the wrong thing.
It's all right, it's all right.
What do you want?
It's okay. There's no need to be frightened. I know it's just you and the baby here. I thought you'd be sleeping.
I was. I thought I heard Kylie.
You heard me.
Who are you?
The Angel Gabriel.
What?
The Angel Gabriel? He comes to Mary in the middle of the night, remember?
What the hell are you on about?
You do remember the story?
Yeah, maybe.
Well, it's nothing like that. Not really.
Look, is this some kind of stupid joke? Something to do with Scott? Are you one of his mates? Because if you are, he's not here.
I know. I watched him go.
You saw him? I don't understand.
I told you, I thought you'd be sleeping. I just wanted to look around.
Look around?
Yes.
Why?
Being inside, alone, somewhere forbidden. Just the sound sometimes of someone's breathing. It's an incredible feeling. Like sex, only better, purer, more controlled.
And that's what you do? You just wander into people's places and look around?
Yeah.
And that's all?
Sometimes I'd take things.
What kind of things?
Valuable things.
You're wasting your time here.
I know.
Then what?
You're Scott. I was interested in him.
Why?
You know he beat her up today, Sister Teresa.
Sister Teresa? How do you know her?
It doesn't matter.
Is she all right?
She's in hospital. A couple of broken ribs, but yeah, she'll be okay.
I'm sorry.
It wasn't you.
It was my fault.
No. No, you didn't punch her, kick her.
Oh, God.
He's the bully. Don't take the blame for him. He hits you too, doesn't he?
Sometimes.
And the baby?
No, he'd never hit the baby.
Yeah, how can you be sure?
He loves her.
He loves you. That's what he says after he's knocked you around, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Look, if you can't stand up to him, you should leave him.
No, I can't.
Go back to bed.
But
Go on. You go back to bed. And don't worry. It'll be all right. I'll see myself out. Oh, what the hell? Shut it. Shut it. Shut up and listen. I just wanted to make sure you understood.
Understood what?
That person you attacked today. If you ever go near her again, I will break every bone in your body. Is that clear?
Yes.
And you believe me?
Yes.
Right then. It might be a good idea if you stopped hitting your wife too. I imagine there's a self-help group you could go to. Men and Violence, something like that. I should find out before it's too late.
Looking a little sour this morning, Graham.
The wife, sir, gone on one of those health food kits. All soya milk and wheat germ. Can't get a decent breakfast in the morning.
Should be getting you down to the gym next.
Oh, badminton, Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Oh, I'll make a new man of you.
She used to be happy with the old one.
That's marriage, Graham. Women, most of them, they change and we don't.
You're in a right gloomy mood this morning.
Wedding anniversary. Man in Elaine's. Well, it would have been today.
I'm sorry.
Oh, well.
Millington, CRT. For you, sir. Detective Sergeant Jackie Ferris, Arts and Antique Squad, Scotland Yard.
The last was Walsall, 4 days ago. John Singer Sargent, a landscape, northern France. Been in the same family since, what, the early 20s, I suppose? Derby, Stafford, Leamington, Walsall. Someone's been cutting a swathe across the Midlands, cherry-picking British Impressionist paintings on the way.
And none of this, you think, coincidental?
I think not, no. Someone's out there with a pretty big shopping list, there's not much doubt of that.
And this will be a collector, somebody private?
Oh, yes.
In this country?
Almost certainly not. Japan. That would be my best guess, although Germany's a possibility.
And this collector, whoever it is, they'd go through some kind of intermediary here, a dealer?
There are one or two we've had our eyes on. Bernard Martlet, Vernon Thackeray. Arm's length for them, of course. The actual theft, a contract. Someone dependable, good at what he does.
A first-class thief?
Professional. Knowledgeable, too.
And on his tour of the Midlands, you think we might be next on the list?
Well, I think it's possible.
But you don't know what specifically he might be after?
Well, that's difficult. Some private holdings we can trace through the insurance companies. Others have arrangements with local galleries, the Castle Museum here, for instance, to take pieces from time to time on loan. Aside from that, it's more haphazard. Little old ladies sitting with a valuable whistler in the attic.
Or a couple of DLs on the drawing room wall.
You think that's what he's here for, then, your pal? Bit of fly-by-night artistic endeavour?
I'm not so sure about the pal, Graham. But I doubt he's here for his health, or to celebrate old times. Oh, bad memories than most, I shouldn't wonder.
What's the plan, then? Pick him up, warn him off?
Get slapped with a lawsuit for harassment, false arrest. No. I think what we do, Graham, play careful. The list Jackie Ferris came up with, bona fide collectors, they've all been contacted, warned.
And the Mavericks and oddballs?
Like Miss Johnson. Well, I think she's close enough for us to keep a careful eye on ourselves.
You reckon that's what he's after, then, Grabianski? A brace of, what was it, Herbert DLs?
Easier to find a buyer, I dare say, for something whose provenance is shaky.
Provenance? Gave you a bit of a seminar, did she, while she was about it, last front yard?
Your shout, Graham, if I'm not mistaken.
What you said before, this being yours and Elaine's anniversary, in a manner of speaking, still rankles, does it?
No. Yes. Yes, it does.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have asked.
No, it's all right.
It's just...
Graham, it's okay. It is fine. She got a new job, Elaine, or maybe 6 months before, advertising, offices in the lace market. Well, she'd been bored where she was, and this Bit of a challenge, that's what she said. And if they expected to work late, weekends sometimes, well, that's what I'd been doing year in and year out after all. It never occurred to me. But then she said that too, later, when we were... You never paid any attention, Charlie, not to me, took me for granted. I suppose she was right.
Two sides to everything, Charlie. Got to be, stands to reason. No call for you to carry all the blame, I dare say.
Driving down from Carlton, that's what I was doing, just cutting through, not anywhere I'd normally go, and... Well, that was when I saw them, Elaine and this fella, estate agent, just coming out of this house, for sale sign outside.
Not been talking mortgages, I dare say.
She stopped at the end of the drive and checked her makeup, ran a comb through her hair.
She didn't see you?
No, ain't sure of that. Waited till they were gone.
Then what?
Let myself inside. Slipped the lock. It was easy. There was one of Elaine's hairs floating in the toilet bowl. The sheet on the bed was still warm.
Bloody hell, Charlie.
Yeah, well, it's water under the bridge. I'd best be off, Graham.
Oh, stay, have another, why don't you?
And have your Madeleine on my back for leading you astray. Besides, I've one more call to make this side of chucking out time.
You sure?
You get off home. Tomorrow might be longer than most.
Charlie, I was hoping I might catch you.
Oh, really? More usually the other way around.
You mind if I join you?
Be my guest.
Vodka in that case. Bison grass, perhaps.
Bison grass vodka for my friend here, and I'll have another beer.
Right, all right.
Friend Charlie. I think I like that.
Figure of speech.
And nothing more?
Circumstances, Georges.
They vary, surely.
You really want me to believe your being here is simply passing time, visiting a friend?
Why ever not?
And this friend, he wouldn't be called Martlet, by any chance?
I'm afraid not.
Vernon Thackeray?
It's your nature, of course, to have a suspicious mind. Training, too.
Shared interest in painting, perhaps? You and your friend? British Impressionism?
Oh, second rate, don't you think, for the most part? Doesn't hold a candle to the French.
Why are you here, Georges? Sitting here with me now?
I like you. We're two of a kind. Two sides of a coin.
Backgrounds, perhaps. But now, past and present. You don't think you're getting them confused?
Your family, Charlie. When did they leave Poland? 38? 39?
Georges, I don't think that's got
Mine
very much...
came out in 39. Those that could. Czechoslovakia, Austria, Switzerland. Hiding beneath the tarpaulin of a river barge. Nothing to eat, almost impossible to breathe. Read the papers nowadays. It doesn't seem as if much has changed.
Looking around this club, you might say the same.
You'll have another.
Just the one.
Join me in a vodka this time.
Okay.
2 bison grass, please.
Coming up.
Once we'd met at the hospital and I knew you were in the city, I thought you might abort what plans you had. Move on.
She's a striking woman, Charlie. A real woman. Handsome, bright.
And a nun.
Another thing we have in common, perhaps. Being attracted to the unattainable.
Is that a fact?
That young DC of yours, DS, I expect she is by now. Kellogg, was that her name?
We'll watch your every move, you know that.
I dare say you'll try. Good luck.
Cheers.
Scott Palmer, Charlie. You know the name?
Oh, not in your league, Georges. Strictly small time.
There's stuff in his place he's waiting to fence. Jewellery, mostly. You'll find it in the kitchen. Sealed bags in the sugar, flour. Pretty much where you'd expect.
Guesswork.
Fact.
Why are you telling me?
Let's just say I'd like to see him get what he deserves.
Palmer, Graham. No trouble?
If I said he came quietly, I'd be a liar. Took a swing at one of our lads and caught him off balance. Squared up to another with the kitchen knife.
Nobody hurt?
Not serious. And it means we let the CPS have more to work with than being in possession of stolen goods. Assaulting an officer in pursuit of his lawful duties, resisting arrest. Should keep young Palmer tucked up in Lincoln for a while.
There'll be some not too sorry, I'd reckon.
Close to home too, by all accounts.
Now, everything all set for tonight?
Scraped together enough bodies somehow. Let's hope it's not a waste of the overtime, eh? Sounds lovely.
I recognise one of those voices too.
Let's go down and see what's happening.
More on this nonsense. You're coming with me. I caught him red-handed, spray painting more of his obscene gibberish on the outside wall in broad daylight. I executed a citizen's arrest and dragged him along here.
It's perhaps better not to break his arm, sister.
Misquoting the scriptures all the way and swearing like a trooper into the bargain.
I was following in the paths of Jesus and driving the harlots from the temple.
See what I mean?
Tommy Palethorpe, unless I'm very much mistaken.
You know him.
A perfectly decent con artist with a string of previous until he got religion.
Let he who is without sin plant the first aspersion.
Church of Christ without Christ or some such, isn't that it, Tommy? Congregation of 3?
Followers of the true faith.
You'll make sure he's charged.
You've other witnesses?
Only half of Radford.
In that case, Graham, let's get Tommy here turned over to the custody sergeant.
Right.
Then, sister, I'll organise somebody to take your statement.
Right, come on, Tommy.
Thank you, Inspector.
Sister Teresa, how is she?
On the mend. All being well, she'll be home from the hospital tomorrow.
That's good news.
Absolutely. Lying there with little to do but think about her rescuer is not doing a lot for her soul.
Oh, I shouldn't worry over much on that account. I think he'll be out of the picture pretty soon. Everybody in place, Graham?
Naylor and Anil Khan round the back. Vincent's 100 yards or so along Tattershall Drive in case he doubles back that way.
Good.
Only thing we haven't got covered is poor old Miriam. You don't think she's in any danger?
From Sergei Grabiansky. He's as like to make her a cup of Horlicks as anything. Tuck her in for the night and wish her pleasant dreams.
While he's robbing her blind?
We'll see.
OK, I'd best get back.
I'll be in the car. Have a tape or two and a brie and smoked salmon sandwich to keep me company. Yes, Graham.
Nothing, sir. Quiet as the proverbial. I was wondering if we should call it a night. Let the lads catch an hour's kit while there's still a chance.
Feet getting cold, Graham.
Cramp more like. Not just the feet, neither. They're getting too old for this sort of caper.
We're all doing that, Graham.
Your pal Grabiansky, too. You don't think maybe he's reconsidered? After that little chat you had, reckoned it's not worth the risk?
Let's give it another half hour.
Right.
Yes.
Someone's coming now, sir. Could be in.
All right.
He's in now. Beautiful to watch.
OK, let me know the minute he's on the move.
He's out and heading off in your direction. Do you want us to intercept?
No, just stand by in case he changes his mind and makes a run for it.
Will do.
Charlie?
Sergei.
Not altogether a coincidence.
Not at all. The bag, Sergei. You wouldn't care to open it up and show me what you've got inside?
Why not?
One pair of gloves. One torch. One camera.
I've a receipt for the camera.
Where are they, Georges?
The 2 DLs? Still in their frames on the wall. Your men can check.
I'm sure they will. Meanwhile, why don't you come and sit in the car?
As far as we can see, sir, nothing's missing.
The paintings?
Both in place.
OK. Call it a night.
Right.
Why take the risk, Georges? After last night, you must have known I'd have the place watched.
Always a special favourite of mine, DL. No way I could pass up the chance to see them, close to.
It didn't occur to you to knock on the door, ask.
Not the same, Charlie. A little while with one of the unsung masters, worth any amount of risk. Like standing up to your armpits in cold water for hours just to catch a glimpse of an ivory gull that's got lost on its way from the Arctic.
Any amount of risk?
Oh, come on, Charlie. You'll not bother charging me with this. It's not worth the paperwork. Your lads, they'll not find so much as a speck of dust disturbed.
London, Georges. That's where you live now.
Balham.
First train's something after 6. Be on it.
Whatever you say, Charlie.
You've heard from Charlotte Palmer, sister?
She and the baby have gone up to Sheffield. They're going to stay with her mother for a while and think things out. He'll get bail, won't he, Scott?
It's likely.
And prison?
Eventually.
Well, maybe it'll make him see sense.
And pigs might fly.
You've no great faith in the penal system, then, Sister Bonaventura?
It turns petty thieves and wastrels into fully fledged criminals without a hitch. If that's its purpose, it's clearly a great success. But as for faith, I need all I can muster for myself, and for Sister Teresa here.
These arrived in the post yesterday, Inspector. I thought you might want to see them.
2 photographs. The feather. Why a feather?
Sister Bonaventura keeps saying it's from a curlew, but I'm sure it's a wimbrel.
And the photographs?
Look, 2 paintings. They're the ones you thought Jerry was going to steal, aren't they?
Miriam Johnson's DLs. Yes, I think so.
And there, in the background, the silhouette of someone holding a camera.
I keep telling her that it's only a reflection, not a miracle.
There wasn't any note?
Oh, yes. And an address.
He wants to know will she go with him to see an exhibition in London. Degas, I think.
You won't go.
He's a wonderful artist, Degas. That painting of his, the woman in red having a hairbrush, it's always been a favourite.
I think Sister Teresa believes the closer she flies to temptation, the higher she'll sit in heaven.
I can't advise you otherwise.
Oh, advise away, Inspector, why don't you? I don't have to listen.
In Bird of Paradise, dramatised by John Harvey from his own short story, Charlie Resnick was played by Keith Barron, Georges Grabianski by Gerard McDermott, Sister Teresa by Rachel Atkins, and Sister Bonaventura by Gillian Bevan. Sergeant Millington was played by Sean Baker, Shana by Blondell Taylor, and Scott by Carl Prekop. Miriam was played by Anne Beach, Thackeray by Peter Marinka, and Sergeant Ferris by Hannah Dee. The director was David Hunter.
Death Watch, part of a crime series featuring Michael Gilbert's London-based detective Petrella. First appeared in 1999 on Radio 4. The series ran on radio till 2001. His Argentinian wife who teaches the tango in her classroom above a butcher's shop. Dealing with the low life of London. He works at Patton Road Police Station in South London, just after the Second World War. Often set around London's foggy docklands.
Petrella,
Dramatised by Michael Butt from the stories by Michael Gilbert. With Philip Jackson as Inspector Petrella, Anthony Jackson as Sergeant Burley, and Jamie Glover as Milo, in Death Watch.
Intrigued by the night, to wake into the silence, to hear your loved one at peace breathing beside you. These are the benefits of insomnia. And weighing against them, boredom, exhaustion, and the too often repeated experience of watching yourself dying slowly. Too often repeated? Yes. As time grinds forward until dawn arrives, the cheap and cheerless urban kind in my case, like a milkman whistling, his jealous heart bent on revenge. And there you are the following day, having been called to the commander's office, the world swimming, jelloid, one eye shut, the other propped open by a hand that slips and fumbles.
You all right?
A bit of insomnia.
Try sherry last thing at night.
That works.
No, but you don't mind quite so much being awake. Nothing worrying you?
Pardon?
Quite. Shall we get on?
I think so.
I'm taking you off normal duties.
Sir?
Have you heard of Judge Anthony Verica?
Nuremberg trials.
One of those who bore the heavy responsibility for judging those accused of war crimes.
Yes. Heavy? Yes, I suppose so.
Many of the accused said they were only following orders.
Of course.
You don't accept this?
Of course they were following orders. That's what freed them to do what they wanted to do. Kill Jews.
A black and white view is always enviable.
Some things are simple.
Is this your insomnia speaking?
You don't think a little anger is justified? The children? The families led away?
And Judge Verica hanged the guilty?
Yes.
Well, now some people want revenge.
Who?
Relatives of those he sent to the gallows. They've hired people.
In this country?
He's returning to England, to London, to resume his life. He says he won't bow to threats.
However...
Exactly. We don't want him killed.
Nothing personal?
We could find a safe house. A new name. He won't hear of it. So they said to me, have you got anybody who could offer discreet protective services? And you know who I thought of?
I've no idea.
Things are running pretty smoothly over at the borough. And you're able. Very able. And you're educated.
What's that got to do with it?
Apparently the judge wants someone he can talk to.
When does he arrive?
Day after tomorrow.
That doesn't give...
No.
I have a feeling, sir, that you don't care for this judge.
Haven't they learned anything? Amnesty is what you need, in my view, not some self-righteous war crimes tribunal. Some of those they hanged were civilized people.
Following orders?
Yes, Patrick, following orders. Like good soldiers. Like policemen.
Into the nightmare. The desire to be cured, to be healed, can lead sufferers down many strange roads. Chinese herbs guaranteed to sweep me into the arms of Morpheus had left me dry-mouthed, jittery. A homeopath in Forest Gate had fed me minute amounts of caffeine. The results were just as minute. After a night on barbiturates, I had risen from my sheets sandbagged and purple-eyed. I was still shopping around when I lurched into Dr. Green's clinic in Peckham Rye.
How long since you slept well?
Well?
Do you find the word ambiguous?
Yes.
Quite right, it is.
So why do you use it?
Since you slept, shall I say, unbrokenly?
Oh, not since I was about 9. But this intense inability to sleep, about 2 months.
And so what is good sleep
Dr.
in your
Green,
terms?
I have come to you...
What I'm doing, what my game is.
We're having a preliminary discussion, I see that.
What you want to know
Of course
is...
I do, yes.
Is when will the hypnotism begin?
That's right, yes.
So tell me, what do you want?
What do you mean?
How much sleep? How often? What kind of sleep?
I want...
Do you want to sleep, or do you wish to avoid the problems of wakefulness? Our thoughts at night, when we are vulnerable, overwhelm us. Above all, night is the kingdom of thought. During the day, with its demands, with its distractions, we can avoid or dilute them. We have a perspective, whereas at night we are alone, interminably. The circus begins. Memory, confusion, anxiety, fear.
Yes, I think I understand. In answer to your question, I want all of it.
All of it?
I want peace, Dr. Green. And could have added but will not find it at Patten Road Police Station, a brick-built war zone of institutional proportions, where the halt, the lame, and the criminally incompetent vie for my exhausted attention, and where my colleagues, Sergeant Burley and Detective Constable Milo, lick wounds and plan their escape.
Because of the way I work.
How's that?
Off the ball.
I don't see.
Not on the nose. It means I'm not afraid to take opportunities.
Yes, rather than...
Making waves, whereas you, Milo, am I wrong?
I like to see the road ahead, it's true.
Yeah.
I believe fate is made, not granted.
Well, that's as you see it.
Which is the point, as you see it, to live according to a vision.
Well, this leads to...
I'm sorry, I'm diverting the conversation.
Yeah, is more or less to the point. What would you say in answer to the question, what next?
What now?
What now? What next?
Same question, surely.
OK, one question. Your answer.
Think about it. Think about it, discuss it, read about it, plan, foresee, develop schema, whereas for you...
Don't hang about, jump in, that's right.
It's funny, isn't it?
What?
That we get on at all.
What are you two doing?
Planning, sir.
Not anymore, you're not.
So, this judge...
Yes?
Is he eccentric?
Why?
Well, they are.
Is that your experience, Milo?
I had an uncle once, a judge. He certainly had emotional difficulties.
You'd be lucky if he didn't.
But Verica's heard testimonies, visited the death camps. He's sifted... Well, yes, you might say has sifted the ashes.
Thank God, sir.
And is coming home. We demand exceptional men.
They're not.
Your uncle.
So you think...
what's this got to do with protecting him?
Yes.
I feel the need to know my subject.
I'd have a look at his flat. Ways in, ways out. And his neighbours. That's it.
Right, we're going to do that. But Milo, do some fishing for me. The judge's record, and discreetly.
Walk back, yes?
You didn't expect that, did you, Milo?
And if an attack came...
Sir?
Day or night, when would it be?
Night, sir.
The quietness, mainly.
Yes.
That hissing, as though from a distant sea.
You mind this?
I love this.
And your thoughts?
Calm. Pleasant. Welcoming.
To
myself. To the night. My wife and child asleep. Safety. All safe. This is the first phase.
And then?
And then I try to go to sleep. It's on the second floor.
The one with the window box?
Next to it.
OK.
The block is built on 3 sides round a courtyard at the back. There's a fence and a gate.
Mesh his windows.
What?
They could climb on the roof, tie a bomb to a piece of rope and swing it through his bedroom window.
Yes, right.
Is he a heavy sleeper?
I don't know. Why?
You may have to wake him up in a hurry. What comes in?
You mean deliveries?
Yeah.
Groceries from a known man, which I'll search anyway. You think poison?
Nah. They're like bangs.
Who?
Assassins. Remember Freddy the Stick?
Shotguns.
Always had the option of using a silencer on a rifle. Wasn't interested. Instead he'd shout out loud, then let his cannon off.
Exploding milk?
Yeah. What's that chimney thing running up the outside?
The service lift housing. Takes up the groceries. Out of reach from the ground, as you can see. It can only be operated from the first floor. Inside, I'll show you. Cage. Basket. Electrical pulley. What do you think?
Padlock it.
You're not keen?
You're joking. Goes into all the flats?
Well, it goes into the judge's.
Seal it.
Right. Good morning.
Can I help you?
Miss Easter?
Yes.
I'm Inspector Petrella from Patten Road Police Station. Would it be possible to come and see you later?
I suppose so.
Thank you.
That was Sally Easter, a journalist here on the first floor. Then there's Jack Geiger, a dentist next door to the judge. And on the top, a Mr. Adam Fleischman. I'll take the journalist. You been to the dentist lately?
No.
Right.
There's a lot of nonsense talked about hypnotism. For instance, I don't use a watch and chain. None of that paraphernalia. If I'm asked, can a person be hypnotized against his will, I say no. A person cannot enter a trance unless he gives his full and conscious permission. Circus acts, the music hall turns, you can forget. A forceful personality acting on another in an unfamiliar situation accounts for what goes on there. That is not what is going to happen between us. Do you understand?
Yes.
Good. That's very good. Now, close your eyes. Breathe deeply. Calmly. In and out. In and out.
I'm a lesbian. Does that alarm you?
No.
The French call us inverts. Amusing. Are we upside down?
Miss Easter.
You are a policeman.
That is correct.
And you are on a mission.
If you like.
To do with the judge.
Why do you say that?
He's written to me.
Who?
Mr. Petrella.
Yes, all right. The judge has written to you.
Telling me of his imminent arrival and inviting me to his coming-home party. You look very disconcerted. Do you know him?
A party?
Drinks.
My God.
He's delightful. Why does he need police protection?
How long have you lived here?
6 years.
And what's your work?
I'm a journalist. Don't worry, the discreet kind.
That must make you unique.
Like a policeman with a sense of humour, you mean?
And you know the judge?
In a neighbourly way. We raise eyebrows over milk bottles and a glass of sherry at Christmas.
And you live alone?
Yes. Apart from Sasha.
Your dog?
Yes. Will we be seeing you at the party?
Such rage in me. And I'm thinking, how dare he? A drinks party. And this discomfort growing in me like an uninvited dream. But it wasn't his protection I had in mind. We throw a cordon round ourselves. It's ourselves we defend. Well, why? Why is it necessary? No, I understand. Yes, I am. You asked. I have been asked to protect him, and, well, why not invite the street? Why not a small ad in the Berliner Zeitung? It's a newspaper. Yes, you do hear anger, sir. Very well. And in me, something rising, something dark, faceless and intrusive. Something demanding its place at the table.
Appointment with Mr. Geiger.
Name?
Detective Sergeant Burley.
Oh, yeah, he's with a patient.
It won't take a minute.
Mr. Geiger? Police for you.
I've got 5 minutes. What is it?
You're Mr. Geiger, yes?
That's so. What is it?
I'm the police.
My nurse said, yes, so?
You live in Cranberry Mansions?
Yep, moved in about 6 months ago.
And before that, where were you?
Cape Town. My home. What's the point of these?
Well, one of the tenants in the flats needs police protection.
So you're checking me out?
Well, there's no question of suspicion.
No. So I assume it's to do with the judge.
I'm not authorised to say that.
No, of course not, but it's him, yeah?
I wonder if you'd mind answering the questions on this form, sir, and then posting it back to me.
You'll be contacting the South African consulate?
Most probably.
But can't I answer everything here and now?
Well, as a non-British citizen,
what?
I wouldn't get upset.
You wouldn't?
I wouldn't, no.
Well, I am upset.
All right, you're upset. Now fill in the form and send it in to me.
Are you awake?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Oh, Patrick.
The thing is...
You're tossing and turning.
Am I?
Like a whale, a poor whale on the beach.
That's how it feels.
Are you calling for rescue, Patrick?
I don't know. It's almost as if I don't want to sleep.
You have to shut down.
And yet,
You have to turn off the key.
that's what I can't do.
Do nothing.
It's almost as if there's a fear.
A fear?
Half glimpsed. Something that will come to me if I sleep. If I drop my guard.
You're a brave man. You have faced many difficult things. Sleep and face it. It's only a thought. How bad can it be?
I would face it if it were in my waking world. But I can't step over this. Which makes me think it's worse than anything before. And that somewhere in me I know it and resist.
But eventually you must sleep.
And there. That's it. That's what I'm afraid of.
I've come to see how your plans are progressing.
They're progressing.
Could you furnish me with
What?
some... Could you furnish me
What? What do you think I am?
A professional who comes highly recommended.
You see this? You see this machine? You know what it's doing?
It's a lathe.
It's a lathe. It's turning for you.
For the people I represent.
It's creating.
What?
The necessary equipment to do the job.
I see. And when can we
When it's safe, when it's right.
So it's going well?
Yes. But now the bill has gone up.
Why? We agreed a sum.
He's got police protection.
How do you know that?
They heard about you.
It's impossible.
They heard about you, Brandt, and your little organization, and they have taken steps to protect the judge. I'm telling you what I know. And so as a consequence, it will cost more.
I will have to ask.
Yes, you ask. That's best. Tomorrow.
I will have to
Tell
put it
me
before...
tomorrow. If that isn't being too demanding.
He didn't want us to contact the consulate.
So you did?
Yeah. He hasn't got any political affiliations.
So what was he hiding?
His qualifications, or his lack of them. He claims to have learned dentistry at Cape Town University. He didn't.
So the job here?
Fake certificates. Funny thing is, he's a good dentist, apparently. So what did you find?
A lesbian journalist. I didn't behave myself.
I'm sorry to hear that, sir.
Yes. She, the judge has invited her and the other tenants to a drinks party. Isn't it? I've been told to allow it to go ahead.
The dentist knew we were looking after the judge.
So did Sally Easter.
You think either of them could be involved?
I don't know. I doubt it. I don't know.
The last tenant's someone called Adam Fleischman. He's a faith healer, but he's not there. He's at some conference. And that's it. What do you think?
I'm at a train station. Crowded. Confused. Atmosphere of confusion.
Go back there.
The dream?
Dream it again.
I don't want to.
Close your eyes.
I don't.
Close them. Breathe deeply. Go back. The station. Crowded, you say. What can you see? Mr. Petrello?
Ah. My wife. My wife and child.
We agree.
Then we can go ahead.
You cannot explain...
You want me to tell you how I'm going to do it? No. You want the judge killed? He will be killed, I can promise you. But I never discuss my methods. When people are tense, their defenses are high and they make difficult targets. They will be tense. They expect me and my colleagues to act, so my job is to relax them just for a moment so that they feel the danger has passed, and then, at that moment, I act. So, 2 problems. How to relax them and how to be there, you see?
What?
What you're paying for. No one else could do it. Others will offer you hit and miss. Well, that's not my way. I guarantee. That's what you're paying for, Mr. Brandt. Tell your people the next time you hear from me, your judge will be dead. Their nightmare will be over.
What nightmare?
Of wanting somebody dead. Tell them. I will wake them.
Do you ever feel that something is operating in you?
How? When?
At night.
During the hours of darkness?
If you like. Though they might equally be the hours of illumination.
Can we get back to the dream? Close your eyes. You are on a station platform. It is crowded.
Yes.
You see your wife and child. Are you meeting them? Are you?
What are they doing here?
You didn't expect to see them?
No.
Why?
I'm working.
On the platform?
Yes.
At the station?
Yes.
What are you doing there?
I'm on duty.
You're a soldier?
No, of course not. I'm a policeman.
Tell me what happens.
I'm guarding.
What are you guarding?
The people. They're crowding towards the trains. Little cardboard suitcases. Distraught, tired faces. The children anxious, wide-eyed. The old people trying to keep up as they are herded.
What did you say?
What did I say?
You said, as the people are herded. Do you mean onto the trains?
Sarah?
Your wife.
What is she doing here? She doesn't see me.
Are you hiding from her?
Why would I do that?
Where are the trains going?
Nobody knows.
Everybody knows.
Yes, but nobody says.
You know, don't you?
Sarah.
What does she do?
She walks towards the train.
With your son?
Yes, with my son, holding his hand.
What are you doing there?
I told you, I'm a policeman. I'm patrolling.
Why are you doing that?
I have to.
Why?
I'm following orders.
And your wife and son?
They shouldn't be here.
Tell them.
What?
I said, why don't you tell them to go away? Tell them now.
I can't.
Tell them.
I'm not supposed to know where the train's going.
But you do know.
If I tell her, if I say, don't get on the train, then...
Then what?
They'll make me get on the train. Instead. Sarah! Ah!
The judge flies in tomorrow. What is there?
2 tenants, a drinks party.
A house with more holes than a cheese.
An unknown assailant. And someone who knows.
What?
Could be nothing. Someone with a German accent left a message for the boss. I have vital information concerning the safety of an eminent judge. I hope financial considerations will be made. What do you think?
Sounds German to me.
What? No number, nothing.
He wants all the clout, that's German.
Burley, the war's over.
Anybody told him that?
We wait for further orders, is all. And our judge, who wants a normal life.
Well, I'm wondering if he wants a normal death.
What do you mean?
He couldn't do more, could he, if he did want it?
I'll check him out.
Yeah. Don't want the boss to go in there completely blind, do we? Milo.
What's the matter with the boss?
He isn't sleeping.
Is he all right?
How would you feel?
I mean, is he all right?
Any other questions?
Are you awake, Patrick?
Yes.
Shall I stay awake with you?
No.
When do you go away?
Tomorrow night.
And how long for?
I don't know.
On night duty, is it?
Sarah, I feel excited by it. I'm ashamed. I'm disturbed. And I don't know why, but it feels like some kind of opportunity.
You like to do what you have to do?
Yes. After all the uncertainty, I appreciate the bracing facts. Stand and fight. It isn't demons I fear as usual.
No.
It's myself.
How's the hypnotist?
He tells me I am running away from a dream. That's why I'm staying awake.
And do you believe it?
Yes, I think so. It's a dream in which I abandon you and Donald.
Abandon us?
Yes.
So?
That's a funny thing.
You found something?
Even though I accept what he's saying, and know that I would never abandon you in life, still can't sleep.
Do you know why?
Because it isn't about you. The dream isn't about you.
He would not abandon us.
Never. I don't know. And until I know, I will have the dream.
And no need to call me sir, by the way.
Right.
My name is Desmond, though I've never been fond of it. I use my middle name, Matthew. Call me that, would you?
Right.
And I will call you Patrick. Is that all right? I mean, you are going to be a guest in my flat.
Certainly, sir. I mean...
Matthew. Petrella, now, what is that?
What do you mean?
Is it Italian?
My father is Spanish.
So? And where were you educated?
Marseille and then Beirut.
Unusual in the Met.
Doesn't worry me.
Are you a man with an international perspective?
I feel English.
But you're not? Example. What do you think of the war?
I'm glad it's over.
But from whose point of view?
Everyone's.
Certainly. Most broad-minded people see all civilians as victims. Is that so?
I don't know. How did Hitler come to power? By telling the Germans he'd kill their Jews for them. That was his promise, and they voted him in on the strength of it. Are they innocent?
I have learned to take a more circumspect view.
Hmm?
You're a policeman. You know what human beings are capable of, both heroism and atrocity. And I have learned that those whose righteous anger burns brightest are often the ones who need to look at themselves.
This is interesting.
Isn't it?
Let me say, I tried to get your drinks party stopped. I was denied the authority.
So you're bristling with resentment?
No, fear.
Our man's rung in again. The German.
And?
He's got an address.
Whose address?
The assassin's.
And? You got it?
No, he's nervous.
Wants more cash?
Probably. There's nothing we can do in the meantime. Says he'll call back. And this is interesting, too.
What?
Read it.
And?
You said, does the judge want to die?
You think?
Well, look. This could well be his reason.
This is a surprise, Mr. Smith.
I know. I must like you.
What do you want?
I wanted to tell you.
We've talked about the money.
No. I'm breaking a lifelong rule. I'm announcing an action in advance.
You know when you're going to do it?
Yes. In the next 24 hours, I have information.
I didn't know.
Oh, yes. Always information. Professional, you see.
I didn't doubt that.
Oh, I think you did, Mr. Brent. I didn't enjoy your wholehearted confidence, did I?
The people I represent.
Yes?
Deeply conservative.
Tell them they have the best. Look at this. You look with wonder in your eyes, Mr. Brent.
What is it?
It's a little service lift. Very sweet, isn't it?
Why are you making it?
It is a perfect replica of the one they have at the judge's flats.
They've locked it off, haven't they? Is that what you told me?
Yes, that's why I made my own.
And what does it do?
What does it do? It kills judges.
I'll go in first.
By all means. Most of my luggage is coming later. Are you going to help me? You're a bit stronger than I am.
Sure. Just here, Matthew?
Lovely. You want a drink, Patrick?
I won't, actually.
You're right. You look a bit tired.
I'm insomniac.
Ah, now with that I can have pity. So, Ulysses returns. Cheers. Now what are you going to do?
Well, now that you're installed...
Like a refrigerator, yes?
I was going to say we wait, although that's rather stupid.
What do you think we're waiting for?
Well, quiet.
A frontal assault?
No.
What do you know about the people who want to kill me?
A brother, is it? Others, possibly. Anyway, the near family of a man you judged guilty of war crimes.
Hans Laszlo, actually. That was his name.
And they want to get even with you, that's all I know.
And how long can you protect me? I mean, I'm very expensive, aren't I? A whole policeman to myself.
As long as there is judged to be a threat.
And what would you do if they came through the door now, machine guns blazing? Is that a gun you have in your armpit?
Of course I'm armed, Matthew.
I mustn't be killed, isn't that it? Being so valuable.
That's right.
In your borough there must be 1 or 2 under threat of death from one gangster or another. Are they given round-the-clock protection?
You don't want me to be here.
How long can one live like this? I would like a choice, Patrick. Can you give me that?
Hello? Hello? Hello, who is that?
And who was that?
They didn't say.
Patrick, I would leave me alone to my own devices.
Why?
You have a family?
Yes.
Go.
That's not possible.
I'm afraid you're not invited to my drinks party.
I've told you what I think about that. Is your welcome home so important to you?
Actually, It's more a goodbye party.
Judge Vereker.
Matthew.
Matthew, perhaps you could help me.
No, I don't think I can.
Are you going to risk the lives of your fellow tenants?
I'm a judge. We do what we like. When I say to someone in the dock, your life is over, then it's over. I have looked into many men's eyes, and I have said, that light will be extinguished forever. Don't you think a man who has decided such things can decide to have a small party?
You acted on behalf of society.
Oh, really? You say you don't sleep at night. Well, neither do I. Go home, Patrick. Rest.
No, I can't do that.
Then can I assume you have reasons of your own for staying?
I am a policeman on duty.
Following orders? Like me? Shall I tell you of one of my cases? Albert Geisler was brought before me accused of shooting 45 gypsies, men, women, and children in Czechoslovakia, in a forest. They were forced to dig trenches, and then the order was given, and the commandant went down into the ditch, and any that still moved or made a sound he finished off with his Luger. Geisler was identified by Czech partisans. His papers said he was there, and he was hanged. But he wasn't there. It was the Czechs themselves who had done it, I was later told. Geisler had forged papers to allow him into the area so that he could visit a Czech girl, hence the anger against him. I killed an innocent man.
Let me tell them to go away.
Why?
I want to talk to you.
Too late.
That was him. Our informant. 17 Belling Street. He says they're going in tonight. Hello? Give me the commander, please. Yes, it is important.
I have no children. But if I had, what kind of world would I want for them? Men who have invoked evil, who stand against us, must be forbidden their place in the future. That has always been our argument. And in their absence, in the precious or possible moment of clarity that should follow their deaths, what have I seen? That we have only touched the surface. That if we put gallows on every road in Europe, we would never kill them all. What kind of future would I want for my children? One based on an admission that punishment doesn't work, and revenge doesn't work. That justice, as so far conceived by us, doesn't work.
What about your future, Judge?
I don't want one.
Why?
I am identified with the past. I am of the past. That's my home, thoroughly, and I should stay there.
What does that mean?
It means that Inspector Petrella is fighting against the inevitable. A notion you hate, Patrick, am I right?
Only death and toothache are inevitable.
Not when Mr. Geiger is around. Patrick...
I'm a policeman, Matthew. I try to take each day as it comes.
No, really, Inspector.
Hello? Yes, Milo. Yeah. Got it.
What it comes down to is, what do you want?
To keep you alive. To do my best to keep you alive.
Why?
Because that's my work.
No, that's no answer. It's a tautology. You do something because it's your work. Why is it your work?
Your phone's dead. Can you imagine a life without struggle? A day that you are not always glad to see the end of? Yes, you can. A life without struggle is bliss, isn't it? A day whose end is crowned with glory is also bliss, unmistakable bliss. Between the two, the day we long for the end of and the day we wish would last forever, that is where we live. Somewhere in there, in the divide, that's where something happens.
I wish the day to end.
I'm providing a balance to that.
For your own sake?
We struggle and dream of bliss, that's all I can tell you.
I don't. What would happen if you let me die? What are you frightened of?
Where's Mr. Geiger?
I don't know what your dreams are, but I don't think they're bliss. Leave me. I absolve you.
I can't do that.
Why?
I've run out of answers because I can't.
Patrick?
I'll get it.
Leave it, please.
What the hell is that?
Stand still.
Aren't you going to look? You're a policeman, for God's sake. I'm going. You mad.
Stay still. I'll do it. Mr. Geiger.
Sorry I'm late. Did you hear that screaming?
You've got a phone?
Sure.
Go and ring the police, will you?
And say?
Tell them to come.
Right.
And what if that woman's been killed out there?
And what do you think, Matthew?
I think I think it was a decoy to get you outside.
Which means?
They've begun.
Miss Easter, I think you should go now.
Oh, do you? Judge?
Yes, go.
You have a strange way of letting things happen, Inspector.
She's right. You're a strange man, aren't you? Have you ever seen a man hanged, Patrick?
Your wish for survival is your own affair. When I leave here...
I'm talking about other men.
Are you? When I leave here, when the police withdraw their protection, that's something you could concentrate on.
Are you listening to me? Let me tell you what happens. Some go willingly, resigned. They climb the little steps with firm legs, and at the top they give a salute, maybe defiant or else composed, all politics aside now, gazing before them as though into some void, I don't know.
And the others?
What?
You wanted to tell me about the others, the ones who don't go so calmly.
You were in favour of it, the executions, the justice. I thought I'd describe it to you.
I have arrested men who have eventually been executed. I never attended. Was I running away?
Let me tell you. Some are dragged.
I know. Do you think this is news to me? These are such stories. They are meat and drink in a policeman's mythology.
The screaming, the begging for life. And of those, there was one man who went smiling, innocent. He knew that was how to haunt me forever.
All right. The truth? I don't care very much whether you live or die. I am sick to death of your whining. You've suffered? Then end your suffering, or else endure it. Your choice. I have been entrusted with a job. I will risk my life doing it because... who knows? And the reason I object to nightmares is because I demand bliss. Service left.
Who sent it?
We don't know.
You think it's booby-trapped?
The phone call I had earlier was from my colleague. They had just been to an address in Hammersmith where they found a duplicate of this service lift. We are to presume that it was made for practice purposes, and that therefore there is a bomb on this one.
Go now, Patrick. Leave.
You can't. You forget. They're out there.
What do you have in mind?
I'm waiting.
What, for bliss? Before a nightmare?
I'm waiting.
Stroll on.
Look at the traffic.
You think they'll get out of the way?
Yeah. Yes, eventually.
Yeah. When? Come on!
Who is it?
It's Geiger. I made that call. They're sending... I don't know...
Okay, listen. I want you to call again. Call back, you understand?
Uh-huh.
Tell them we need a bomb disposal squad. You've got that?
They're not going to believe me.
Tell them Petrella. Tell them you're doing it for me.
Okay.
Are you enjoying this?
It's adrenaline, isn't it? It must be adrenaline. Wakes you up.
Does it?
I haven't slept for months. I mean, snatched sleep. Sleep dragged reluctantly from wakefulness. Hours and hours, dry-eyed.
So now you're really living.
The point is this, I'm awake.
Keeping me alive?
Yes.
Let me die, Patrick.
Not on my shift, no.
I wish to sleep, that's all.
There's the rub.
Oh, I don't intend to dream.
All units, please. Cranberry Mansions, Cranberry Drive. Repeat, and all units call. Go to Cranberry Mansions, Cranberry Drive. Did you pick up a gun?
I'm not weapons trained.
You didn't pick up a gun?
No, I'm not weapons...
I'm not either, but I picked one up. What?
Tell me where you're going to fire, would you? Just say, Milo, I'm firing now.
Drive, will you?
You ever felt you're being handled?
What kind of question is that, Patrick?
Someone is pulling the strings. Do you feel that? You go along, you think you're making choices, but you're not. Or rather, you're making the choices someone else wants you to make. Until we get to this point. And you know what that point is?
The end.
Or not. We're in a trap, Matthew. And when you see that clearly, when you see the bars and smell the bait and feel the breath of that other thing coming for you, when you know the trap thoroughly, you know that you yourself have made it. And then, does the trap dissolve?
Yes?
Inspector Petrella, sir. Fraser, bomb disposal.
Right. Come in.
What's the problem, sir?
I think there's some sort of explosive device under the service elevator.
Okay, well, if you two would like to stand back. There it is. Some sort of plastic underneath.
Nice work. The circuit gets completed when you lift the wine off.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to steam it out. Melts the stuff. It'll take about 4 or 5 seconds. Okay? I'll get the gear from my van.
Right. Time to leave, Matthew.
What?
That man's toolkit. There's a bomb in it! How are you feeling?
Very well.
How do you like hospital food?
Is that what it is?
Good. You're complaining.
And the inexorable might of the law?
The relevant members of the family Laszlo have been arrested. Also a man who gave his name as Smith, a professional assassin. They hired the best, Matthew.
I should be flattered.
They hated you enough. And I'm sorry to say that Mr. Geiger was an accomplice too. He fled. We may catch him, we may not.
How did you know about the bomb?
A man had rung, purporting to have information about the assassin. He led my men to a workshop where they found the mocked-up service lift. Didn't quite fit. The best in Europe allowing himself to be informed on for a few quid. I wondered if we were supposed to find out about it. Could it have been the assassin who had rung us? And that made me shift focus. If there was no bomb on the lift, why make us think so?
So that we'd send for a bomb disposal man.
I told you. I saw the trap we were in. Both of us, Matthew.
Why not put a bomb on the service lift anyway?
Because there was a good chance we'd find it. This man was a perfectionist. And sometimes perfectionists are easier to catch than slobs.
And what now for you?
I'm going back to being a policeman.
You saved my life.
Are you going to curse me for it?
I can curse. Judges have heard it all. Give me your hand. What was it? Nothing less than bliss?
Did I say that?
Yes. And your sleep?
My sleep, Matthew? Ah. Now you're asking.
Patrick? Patrick? Are you asleep? Did you sleep the whole night through?
Yes. Oh, Sarah.
How do you feel?
Like a child. Blessed. And now and again these nights, I stay awake deliberately to revisit my old companions, silence and thought, and to hear again my wife's breath beside me on the pillow. And then I turn onto one side, allowing myself to fall the short distance that separates us from dreams.
In Death Watch by Michael Butt, based on the stories by Michael Gilbert, Philip Jackson was Inspector Patrick Petrella and Anthony Jackson was Sergeant Burley, with Jamie Glover as Milo, Mamta Cash as Sarah, James Hazeldine as Judge Verica, Timothy Watson as Dr. Green, David Redgrave as the Deputy Commander, and Nina Young as Sally. Other parts were played by members of the company. Patrol.